Padres.
Game 2 is tonight. Can Mike Schilt and the fellas bounce back and gain ground in the West? Time to react and prepare for tonight with Jon and Jim.
All right, San Diego and Southern California, what's going on? This is hour one of Jon and Jim. We do have Jesse Rogers from ESPN, really good baseball reporter. He will join us coming up at 2:30 with more on the state of the NL West last night, trade deadline. So Jesse Rogers will join us in less than 30 minutes. And stop me if you've heard this before. It was another excruciating loss for the Padres to the Dodgers last night. We'll see if they can bounce back with Dylan Cease on the mound. A game that we've seen play out before, a little bit like Lucy pulling the football away from Charlie Brown. Padres had opportunities, didn't capitalize. And in 10 innings, the Dodgers take game one 8-7. And this bitter rivalry is once again underway, Jim, for 2025.
We have a problem, John.
Yeah, it's your nose.
It's not the Padres. It's my allergies.
Well, it's 2:02. The show goes until 6. Doing the math on that, Jim, you got about 3 hours and 56-ish minutes because we'll be done by like 5:57. So you only got to do this for like 3:55.
Yeah.
When did this become an issue?
The second I woke up this morning.
The second you were born. Were you born with like tissues to your left?
Yeah, I was taken out by the doctor and I immediately sneezed all over him.
Stop, sneeze. Achoo.
I texted you today. I go, I've sneezed roughly 897 times so far today. So,
is there any help? Couldn't you have taken a nap? My theory with you is if you go to sleep and re-wake up, you're fine.
Well, I woke up at 9.
Go right back to sleep.
And I'm not just continue to sleep it off.
Have you taken anything?
I did. I took Claritin.
Well, here's my theory on that. Why do you ever take anything? Because the second you have the sniffles and like the watery eyes, you're on a downhill trajectory, right? So what do you plan to do for the next 4 hours? Sneeze? Sniffle?
Just hoping a prayer.
Suck it up.
Suck it up. Hoping a prayer. And I'm going to go right now. The over-under on sneezes during the show. What do we have today? Like,
I would say in segment.
In segment?
Only I'll put it at 5.5.
I'm going to go a little lower. I'm going to go 3.5.
3.5 in segment?
3.5 in segment.
Get your bets in 70470. Yeah. Start it with team. Go to underdog.
Out of segment. Who knows? That's like a 9.5 or 10.5 over.
You
under.
Somehow manage typically during the show to not go into like complete sneeze attacks as I jinx it away.
Yeah, you jinxed it to hell.
Right.
So good job there. But I talk through the sneeze. So when I'm talking, it's a little better. But when I'm just like idle and I'm not doing anything, then the attack comes and it's going to be annoying today for you. I'm just going to let you know that right now.
And for our listeners and for our
mostly
viewers.
For you.
What was worse, or what's the worst part of the day? The way last night transpired, or what we're going to have to deal with Jim over the next 4 hours? I'll tell you, last night
clearly me.
It clearly is Jim. Last night was one of those games that you have seen 1,000 times before. It feels like maybe the Padres have the upper hand briefly, only to see the Dodgers respond, and then they take advantage of the miscues, and the Padres just come up a little short. We've seen it before. We saw it in the 2024 postseason. We saw it last night. We'll hear from Mike Schilt coming up. Man, this bullpen is really taxed right now. They lose a game using their relievers the way they used them. The bullpen was really good yesterday. Now you're asking Dylan Cease to be a guy he hasn't been in 2025. But what's your primary takeaway of last night? For me, it's you can't get away with not being good against a team like the Dodgers. You can't try to be average against a team like the Dodgers and win games. And defensively, they didn't play well enough to win the game. And that's why they lost for me. 8-7 last night.
Yeah, my takeaway, season's over. We'll see you in 2026, everybody.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Right, yeah.
You tweeted last night. It was 1-0 Dodgers. You tweeted season over.
Yes.
Then it was 3-2 Padres, season's back. Then it was 5-3 after the Will Smith home run, season's over.
For sure, yeah.
Tyler Wade, season's back.
Yeah, Tyler Wade, jersey was in the cart for a brief moment.
Until he was pulled.
Exactly.
For Brandon Lockridge, and then commits an error.
Yeah, that was a problem.
Not an error, but a mental error.
It was a back and forth game. I think Jackson Merrill said it best. Like that game was, if you are just watching it, not a fan of either team, game was sick. What did he say? The game was sick. but we
Yeah.
lost, so it sucks.
Right. Something
I
like
was
that. Yep.
What? Just a couple weeks ago or a month ago, you had like the greatest game ever and you guys lost and you were so frustrated after the game.
Right.
You weren't saying the game was sick then.
Right.
But today or last night, excuse me, after that game,
Is that how you?
that was sick.
It was a good game. Like I really enjoyed it. To me, it felt like more than the other regular season games we've seen this year because it was Padres Dodgers. But was your takeaway at the end like, the drama? It was so compelling. I'm so glad we saw it. Or the disappointment of they squandered opportunities. They could have won the game and they didn't. For me, it's the latter. I'm always thinking about winning and losing.
Yeah,
and that's what it's about.
Of course it is. There's no part of me that came out of last night's game that was like, man, that was a sick game. Like no part of me. It was a sloppy played game by the Padres. They had a ton of missed opportunities with runners in scoring position. Nick Pivetta just, hey, help your bullpen out.
Mm-hmm.
Couldn't give them length that they were looking for. And you couple that with some guys in the lineup like, Xander Bogaerts, once again, big opportunity, and he completely squanders it. Luis Ariz, where you gone, buddy?
Yeah.
Fernando Tatis Jr. still kind of finding his way back and still struggling, even though I thought he had a decent game last night. So, yeah, that game was not sick, as Jackson Merrill said post-game. It was not sick. That sucked because you had a lead, and you've had a lead, by the way, John. Not you, but the Padres.
Yeah. How many consecutive games?
What?
8.
8 consecutive games.
And they're 4-4.
Yeah.
Think about that. Leads in 8 games. And with this bullpen and with this staff, you'd like to think you're winning at least 75% of the time with a lead.
Yeah.
And they're 500 over their last 8.
So that tells me that they're squandering opportunities to add on. They are not playing good defense. Like last night was just an awful defensive game from the Padres. Their bullpen's been used too much, excuse me. And then you also are still, seeing guys in the lineup who are getting paid a lot of money struggling.
They've actually, if you go back to a Pirates win, the Padres have led in 9 consecutive games since getting shut out by the Pirates on the final day of May. So they've led in 9 consecutive games, but they're also in the midst of this 17-game stretch where we said they're going to have to be really good to have a good overall record. And they've been fine in these 17 games. They're 4-4 to start it. Now they still have, the stretch against the Giants and the Dodgers. They've been fine. They're 4-4. It's nothing to lose too much sleep over, but they do have still 6 games against the Dodgers. They still have to go to Arizona. They're still without the saga continues with Yu Darvish and Michael King, and their bullpen. We finally heard an admission from Mike Shildt that we'll hear coming up. The admission that the starters have to give them more length for them to ultimately be successful over 162. The bullpen is taxed, Jim, heavily taxed to the point where, and I agree with this decision. Robert Suarez yesterday goes in the inning, only throws 10 pitches. You say, well, it's the Dodgers. Maybe he starts the 10th inning. It's too long of a year. He's too important for the team. I don't think you can risk it this early in the season, even if it's the difference between winning and losing, because you're going to need Robert Suarez, hopefully in September and October, and you just can't risk anything this early in the year, especially the way they've used this bullpen.
You can't keep going like this. You need to get length out of your starters, and it starts tonight with Dylan Cease.
Right.
Bro. Are you going to show up to this season? I like, you were really good last year. You had a no-hitter.
Mm-hmm.
You then wet the bed in the postseason. You had some awful appearances. You're in a walk year. You have a couple key guys in your rotation down. Got to step up, dude.
Right.
Got to step up. And you have to have a good outing tonight. I'm not sitting here being like, you got to have a scoreless outing because he hasn't had one this year in 13 starts. But what I am saying is, can you get to the 7th? Can you get through 7 tonight, giving up 2 runs or less? Can you do that, please? Because if you're not going to do that, that's a huge problem with the rotation. If Dylan Cease is not going to pitch like a front line starter, you got a problem.
Yeah, and also the issue is the Dodgers make good starting pitching look very average. So you're going to have to be very good. I mean, use Nick Pivetta as an example. Pavetta's had a nice year. There was some criticism last night. He was hit hard last night. He was hit hard when he had that 5-0 lead against the Giants. But by and large, we went over the numbers last night on the wrap-up show. If you were to replicate that or see it through, you would all take it. A sub-4 ERA, the length he's provided, the wins he's provided to this team. But again, if you're not going to be great, the Dodgers are going to capitalize on that. Even yesterday, I mean, they scored 8 runs. LA, they scored 6 early runs. They have Shohei Ohtani. They have that top of the lineup. I mean, Dylan Cease is going to not only have to have his best performance of the year, even his best performance of the year is not necessarily going to be 6+ innings of 1 run or fewer. I mean, he's going to need to pitch really well to just hang in there. 5 2/3 innings, 2 or 3 runs, give the Padres hopefully a chance to win tonight.
Yeah, all eyes will be on Dylan Cease's performance, because if once again he goes out there and puts up another clunker, it's like, man, we didn't think that pitching was like the number one priority. Now, again, pitching is always something that you can never have too much of.
Right.
But we're so focused on left field. If Dylan Cease is going to continue to be like this, then, and Michael King, who the hell knows when he's going to come back, and Yu Darvish, who the hell knows when he's going to come back, starting pitching has just leapfrogged left field as the number one concern and the number one area of need for this team.
Are you suggesting putting Dylan Cease in left?
Can he play left?
I don't think he can.
Well,
but they don't have anyone that can.
Let me ask this question. Can Dylan Cease actually make the right route, run the right route on a ball and catch the ball in left field, unlike Brandon Lockridge last night?
Think about tell me if I'm missing one. There's a ball lost to the lights. Okay, it happens. We're human beings. Fine.
Everybody lost.
But whatever, it happened against the Dodgers. Now, they actually didn't make you pay for that, LA.
Right.
There was Manny Machado who threw a ball away. They did make them pay. That was not an run.
Yep.
When he threw the ball away. There was Adrian Morejon doing something that I could have actually done. I think I could have thrown from where he was, 28 feet away from first, and hit the first baseman. Arguably, I could have made the throw.
That's like a 50-50
and Ohtani was jogging.
True.
But you're right. It was a 50-50 throw for me. For you, 80% of the time you're making that throw.
Maybe.
That was a ridiculous play. Again, they didn't.
He got out of it.
He got out of it.
To his credit, for sure.
Then the Lockridge route in left in the 10th inning. And there was a lot of discussion about Peralta. I know Peralta is far from perfect. He is. But what was Lockridge doing? He started in on a ball he should have started back on, and it cost him basically. I mean, it may have cost him the game, truthfully. So, and then Xander Bogaerts in the 10th inning got bailed out by Manny Machado. He underhanded a ball to no one. And Manny Machado raced over and caught the ball to get a force out.
I was thinking to myself, like, that's a great play by Manny.
Unbelievable play by Manny Machado.
Yeah. Everyone's looking around like, oh my gosh.
5 defensive miscues. 5. And you didn't get away with it.
You make silly mistakes like that against the Dodgers, they're going to make you pay. Now, their pitching, you can get back some of those mistakes because their pitching isn't good.
Yeah.
But offensively, they're going to hurt you. They've struggled a little bit this year, no doubt about it. Their offense isn't the juggernaut offense. It's still an elite offense, but it's not like, how it has been. They've struggled of late. But last night, it just felt like every mistake the Padres made, most of the time, the Dodgers made them pay.
Let's hear from,
or at least put so much pressure on them that it came back to bite them.
It's just a bad strategy. I mean, you do that, and more often than not, you're going to lose. We'll hear from Mike Schilt on the other side about the length that's necessary from the starters because of the tax bullpen. Plus, at 2:30, we'll be joined by ESPN's Jesse Rogers with more on the state of the NL West, this series against the Dodgers, and the upcoming trade deadline. So Jesse Rogers at 2:30. Don't go anywhere. It's Jon Jim, San Diego Sports 760, live on the iHeartRadio app. Our iHeartRadio Music Festival is back. You can win your way in before you can buy tickets. Live performances by Ed Sheeran, Mariah Carey, and more. September 19th and 20th. T-Mobile in Vegas. 2 nights, 1 stage. Listen to win tickets before you can buy them at 9 a.m., 1 p.m., and 5 p.m., including airfare and hotel in Vegas, plus $1,000. And our exclusive Capital One cardholder presale starts tomorrow, June 11th at 10 a.m. Jon and Jim with you. Jesse Rogers, ESPN, will join us in 10 minutes at 2:30. We'll hear from Mike Shildt in a moment. There was a very interesting dynamic that played out with Manny Machado last night in the 10th inning.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I would say it's probably one of the most entertaining moments like ever.
Like baseball history, because the umpire had the ump cam.
That's why, yeah.
And they went to a lot last night, and then finally we saw like an altercation, and that was pretty unique. He was rung up on a pitch that everyone was in agreement with was out of the zone until everyone went to Gamecast, and Gamecast actually had the pitch clipping the strike zone, and using the ABS technology, he would have been out on challenge. So it was just, I don't know, a back and forth. I thought it was clearly away. Manny Machado thought it was away. Mike Shildt thought it was away. He didn't get tossed from the game. He got into the face of Mike Estabrook. And it might have been a reason why the Padres ultimately lost the game, that he didn't reach base because Jackson Merrill would later double in a 1-run loss.
I first glance, you're like,
I thought it was well away,
well outside. Everybody on the broadcast was upset. And you know something is deemed a bad call when Bob Scanlon postgame.
Yes, he said it was terrible.
Oh my gosh. Bob Scanlon, the nicest person you'll ever meet, just started ripping into the umpire.
Yeah.
It was hilarious.
It was good.
But, when you do go back and you look at, the replay and you look at the ABS system and everything, if Manny Machado did challenge that pitch last night, he would have been out.
Which is crazy. It would have been a whole nother dynamic in that.
But the fact that of all games, the umpire's wearing the ump cam. Now, was this for just Padres.tv or like?
It was just for Padres.tv. They broke out the bells and whistles for Padres Dodgers. They did.
Because I love the ump cam. I need more ump cam.
I like it in that situation. I agree. I mean, why not have that camera available to you? I don't know how often it'll be the case, but yeah, it came in handy last night. You're right.
But the screenshots
of Manny
just turning around and making and just right up in the ump's face, and then all of a sudden you see another Padres hat just come out from out of screen. It's Mike Shildt. Yep. You're just like, this is awesome.
It was good content.
I need to hear the audio of what happened there.
But everyone was always like, hey, sports are games of inches. I mean, think about that.
That was
they lose on
inches, right?
They lose on the Lockridge. Lockridge makes a bad read. He's there for defense. And then they lose by a centimeter because Machado's rung up on a pitch that we thought was away. And if he reaches the Padres, honestly, not only did they tie it, Jim, they could win the game. There's nobody out 2 on. Merrill then doubles. I mean, you could easily win the game. Yeah. And you got second and third, down a run with nobody out, or maybe you're tied up with a runner at second with nobody out. So the difference between winning and losing is thin. And against a team like LA, you just gotta be good. You gotta be lucky. And they weren't good enough yesterday. They weren't lucky enough yesterday.
Yeah, and that pitch, by the way, that Manny got rung up on, it wasn't like that entire at bat. The Tanner Scott, right? It was Tanner Scott?
Tanner Scott.
It's not like that entire at bat, Tanner Scott's getting that call. Like he already got that call in pitch 1. So then Manny has to go out there and protect. There was no thought in my mind of he needed to swing at that pitch to try to protect, because I bet you that if that pitch is thrown again on the exact same spot, who says the umpire is going to call it a ball? I think that's such a bang, bang, 50-50 call in the ump's mind that the only way to know it's 100% a strike is to look back at ABS.
I think if you had that pitch thrown 100 times, it'd probably be called a ball at least 80. Yes, typically a pitch that's away like that, even if it's clipping the plate by a millimeter, you're not going to get the benefit, the pitcher, especially against a batter like Manny Machado. You may sometimes get the benefit, but I think if that pitch was thrown 100 times, Manny's walking like 85. He was rung up.
There's no world where anybody should be thinking like, dude, should have swung.
No, I mean, Manny knows the strike zone and is red hot. And if he thinks the pitch is away and we all thought the pitch was away, then there's a very good chance the pitch was away.
It was away, except it was and again, the ABS system, man, if it was implemented this year and that moment happened last night,
It would have been crazy.
it would have been nuts because everybody would still be pissed, yet they would see like it's on the broadcast that it clipped the outside of the plate and it was a strike.
Also, the box on Padres.tv does not represent ABS. It's the television box that's meant to represent balls and strikes, but it's not exact. So we see that box and we see a pitch away from that box and we assume it's automatically a ball, when in fact you got to do a further dive, which is what you can do in Gamecast. I mean, just pull it up last night, click on Manny Machado in the 10th inning, and it clipped the strike zone by, a 1/10 of an inch or whatever it was. And those are the breaks. And unfortunately, it didn't go the way of the Padres last night. It would be nice if they bounce back because you're playing this team a lot in the next week, including here tonight with Dylan Cease on the mound. You don't want to be staring down the barrel of a home sweep if you don't win here today. You'd have Randy Vasquez tomorrow at Petco Park. So it's on Dylan Cease. I mean, it really is. The way that the pitchers threw this past weekend, the starters threw in Milwaukee, this is on Pavetta and Cease to step up and perform, even against a good team. So it's on Dylan Cease tonight to be a stopper. That's what aces are. So he's got to be the guy to pitch effectively enough to give the Padres a chance to win.
Most important start of his season? Like so far? No, not career. most important start of his career.
Yeah, without a close second this year, my guess.
Just this year.
Yeah, I don't think there's a close second. These games are elevated for me.
It's not even about that it's just against the Dodgers. I don't care who it would be against. They need to get length out of their starter tonight because their bullpen is taxed. If Mike Schultz saying it, imagine what it's like behind closed doors.
Yeah, they're probably kicking and screaming over it.
They are praying they can get 7 innings from a starter. Not even they like 7 innings. I know 6 is good.
Tonight I take 6, but yes.
Well,
this is the Dodgers.
I understand that, but Dylan Cease is a guy in his career that can give you 7.
Has he gone 7 one time this year?
Yeah. Oh, wait, has he?
We'll answer that on the other side. Plus Jesse Rogers from ESPN. He will join us next with more on last night, with more on the NL West, with more on the upcoming trade deadline. Great baseball resource. ESPN's Jesse Rogers joins us next. Jon and Jim, San Diego Sports 760 live on the iHeartRadio app.
All right, this update is brought to you by Indeed.com. Padres dropped game 1 to the Dodgers last night, 8-7 in 10 innings. Game 2 of their 3-game series tonight back at Petco Park. 6:40 first pitch. Dylan Cease will be on the mound tonight for the Padres. When you're trying to find quality candidates, all the searching, screening, and interviewing can become a job itself. You need Indeed. The all-in-one platform makes it easy to interview, screen, and hire quality people. Visit Indeed.com/credit today.
All right, what a game last night here at Petco. Dodgers in 10 over the Padres. Great to connect right now with Jesse Rogers at ESPN. Great resource for baseball fans. Back with us right now, Jon and Jim, San Diego Sports 760. Jesse, I'm curious to get your perspective on this like series/rivalry, quote unquote. Some would say it is, some would say it isn't. I'm not really asking that. But when you think about some of the series in baseball right now, we know there's some of those longtime series, Cubs, Cardinals, Yankees, Red Sox, Dodgers, Giants. But Padres, Dodgers for you right now, is this one of the better, if not the best, like modern series or the series going right now in baseball? Where does this rank for you?
Yeah, I mean, it certainly is past Dodgers, Giants. I think everybody out there would probably agree with that. I mean, it takes a couple playoff series to kind of get things going in that direction. Maybe, both teams spending a lot of money. Check both those boxes, right? The Padres spent, the Dodgers we know spend. They faced each other in the playoffs. So I would say it's as good as any rivalry going, especially considering Dodgers Padres wasn't a huge thing a few years ago. It was always the Dodgers and Giants for many, many years. So again, kudos to the Padres for sort of jumping into that category where they can say they're a rival of the Dodgers. I'm located in Chicago where, we try to make a Cubs Sox thing going, but there's almost never been a season where they've both been good. So it takes a lot for a rivalry to sort of materialize, and I think that's happened with LA and San Diego.
Padres got off to obviously the red hot start, 14-3. They've cooled off here. They've had injuries. They're now 9 games above 500 from a distance. And watching the Padres, where do you feel about where they stand right now? Being 9 games over and sitting in the wild card race here in the National League.
Certainly in the mix. Obviously, they've proven that they're a decent team. I do think this is going to be a weird thing to say, but I think from the outside looking in, I think their offense is a little bit overrated. And I mean, by names alone, it looks like it should be better, but there's holes at the bottom. I feel like they're like almost an old school National League lineup, really good for a long while and then at the bottom, it's like that catcher pitcher situation. Well, it kind of exists for left field and catcher in San Diego. And when you, again, talk about the names on paper, there probably should be a little bit more power there. Now, Jackson Merrill was hurt, but he's back and he's hitting the ball, not necessarily out of the park. Xander Bogaerts, not necessarily out of the park. So I like their offense. I don't love their offense for those couple reasons. Now, maybe the power will pick up, but we know when it comes to October, you need power. You need, as many guys in the order going. And I do feel like there's a little bit of hole at the bottom there. When Merrill was out, I thought it was really exposed. I really thought it was a 1-5, 1-6 lineup, and it really got exposed. Now that he's back, it's a little bit better, but still, Gavin Sheets has been, quite the find there. Without his power, where would you be in terms of the slug? And again, they're getting almost nothing out of left field and catcher. If you look at OPS and some of the other numbers. So I think their offense, I think the answers are internally, to be honest, and you just got to have the best 1 through 7 possible, unless AJ can find a catcher on the market that can hit, not exactly a position that grows on trees. Probably find a left fielder / DH out there. Marcell Ozuna probably be available if the Braves are out of it. So he could improve his offense a little bit, but I do think it has to come internally. And then obviously if Yu Darvish returns, that's going to look a lot better on the mound. The one thing is the Padres can pitch out of the bullpen. That will keep them in the race alone.
Yeah, it's really good perspective. Jesse Rogers, ESPN, with us right now on Jon and Jim. I'm curious to get your thoughts on Xander. It's his 3rd year with San Diego. If you look at his numbers in Boston compared to San Diego, there's a stark difference. His OPS is down almost 100 points. He has a 637 OPS this year. He's hitting 232. He was given $280 million. How bad of a deal is this, in your opinion?
I mean, all these deals eventually look bad. The key is to get the front end. And look, I would say it's easier to hit at Fenway than Petco, right?
Yep.
But he did it 19 home runs that first season at Petco. You're not asking him to be Aaron Judge, but he needs to be that version. I mean, he's on pace for, I think, less than 10 home runs this season.
Yeah.
That's not going to really cut it for the amount of payroll he's taking up and what he did just short 2 years ago. And I'd ask him to even be the earlier version where he's hitting 30 plus home runs. So I haven't watched him enough to know if his power's been completely zapped. But, you signed a guy for that huge contract at age 30. You expect closer to age 37, 38 where he might lose his power. Power usually ages okay. It's speed and other things that you worry about. So I do wonder what's going on there. Maybe he's just off to a slow start in the final 3.5 months. We'll see a power surge. But certainly you need more. You need more for the amount of payroll he's taking up.
Do you feel like Shohei Ohtani is having maybe a better start to this season than he had last year? And could we see maybe better numbers than maybe not the stolen bases, but I mean, the guy's on pace for 50 plus home runs already. He's put together another MVP campaign, it looks like, here to start 2025.
Yeah, I really don't differentiate his seasons. They're just all incredible, right? He won't steal as much. He's trying to get back on the mound. And when he does that, and if he's successful, watch out. I mean, again, it's back to the old Ohtani, contributing in all different ways. So it's really hard to say this year's better than last. They're all great. Yeah. They're all great. Probably, as I look at it, less opportunities for RBIs when you bat that high sometimes. Last year, he got the opportunities and drove in 130, not as much this year, but, RBI is not the biggest deal. Everything else is clicking for him. So I feel like he's just being Shohei Ohtani. And when he gets on the mound, it's just another level, especially if he can be successful. I mean, there's some doubts whether he should pitch or how well he'll pitch. But I love the fact that they're going to give him a chance. I think they're playing it real cool with him, saving him for the biggest moments, maybe just even October or mostly October. And that'll be interesting to just see that in itself.
Do you think this will be a race in the NL West? I mean, you look up right now, the Dodgers, Giants, and Padres, I think, are separated by combined 2 games. Do you expect that to be the case throughout the course of 162, or how do you see this shaping up?
I think it could be the case for a long while. I covered the Cubs in 2016, and I thought one of Joe Maddon's best managing years, the manager at the time, was actually in 2017. Because they had won the championship for the first time in 108 years. It was hard to imagine putting the pedal to the metal right away. And so he waited. They were even, I think, under 505 games back at the All-Star break, and then they went into overdrive and took over the division in the second half. When you play 7 months of baseball and expectations are through the roof, you've got to pace yourself. And I think the Dodgers are letting teams hang around for a while. Now, obviously, their pitching injuries are maybe contributing to it. But I do feel at any point they will take over the division. That's just my feeling on it. They're too deep not to. They've got to get healthy in the rotation. So I think they're going to let teams hang around for a while. But come August, come post All-Star break, post trade deadline, I think they will take over the division. I rarely pick a team to repeat because of all the obstacles that come in the way. But I did pick them to repeat. So that's how I feel about the Dodgers.
This might be a little early to ask this question, but it's San Diego, and AJ Preller could literally make a move in 2 seconds. But looking ahead here, Jesse, at the trade deadline, in your opinion, who are some players that you expect to be on the move here come the trade deadline this season?
Yeah, well, knowing AJ, I say they have a hole on offense. He'll go out and get a bullpen arm, right? As soon as you think he's going to ziggy zags. I think the Marlins guys are available right now. I think Sandy Alcantara could be had. I'm educated guess here. Right. Maybe they're waiting until June 30th. But basically, the Marlins are open for business. I'm not sure anybody wants anybody on the Rockies. Team like the White Sox they're going to wait a little bit though. If somebody wants Luis Robert, you can have them because the White Sox are kind of trying to build something and things are going well for them. Where the Rockies are just kind of out of it and not sure what exactly they're doing. I think they just want to wait till Alcantara pitches well enough that they can get something for him. I think there's other pitchers probably on the Marlins that are available. I would expect the Nationals to to eventually get in that mode, even though I think they're going to be stubborn and wait a while. The key team is the Atlanta Braves. I mean, Alex Anthopoulos has a little aging in him. You never know exactly what he's going to do. Chris Sale has a team option for next year, so I would guess they'd hold on to him. But you would think that they would probably move Ozuna. Maybe there's another surprise there in Atlanta to be moved. Their bullpen, once you're out of the race, you don't need your bullpen arms as much. And again, maybe Chris Sale as well. But we are a ways away. But Alcantara certainly would be at the top of the list. Luis Robert for the White Sox. But these guys haven't turned their seasons around just yet. So I think waiting is probably better for those teams because some of those guys can't play any worse. My prediction is somebody jumps the market, whether it be late June, early July. I'm not sure. But once we hit the All-Star break, it's going to be, all right, who are the real players in this thing? A while ago, about 3 weeks ago, I was told it was going to be a seller's market. I think it might slowly but surely even out a little bit, and it just won't be 4 teams selling. I think it'll be more like a half a dozen or more, starting with maybe those Braves, which normally we wouldn't include them.
Final one for me, Jesse Rogers, ESPN with us, is Jarren Duran with the Red Sox. Do you think he moves? Obviously, they called up their top prospect. Do you think Duran, who's put together a nice year, but not a year like he had last year, do you think he ultimately moves?
I'm going to say yes. I mean, I thought Boston would be better than they are. So I think as they transition to this new group there, I'm going to say yes to that answer. I did not think I'd be saying it that way. I thought Boston's record would be reversed right now. It'd be like, they're 32-36. I thought they'd be 36-32 or something. That puts them right in the race. Boston's had a weird year. You saw Alex Cora show some frustration the other day. So I'm going to say yes to that answer. And that's one of those teams I didn't think would sell that may end up selling, but it's still a little bit early for a team like Boston to be thinking that way.
It could be a very highly sought after player, again, controllable and is young and has had good seasons.
He's just had a 9-war season too.
It's just coming. I mean, an amazing year last year. It hasn't been that exact same year, but he's been solid here in 2025. Jesse, always appreciate you taking time for us here in San Diego, and we'll catch up again soon. And thanks for doing it.
Sure thing. Anytime.
All right, great stuff. Jesse Rogers from ESPN will react. Plus, hear from Mike Schild on the Padres' tired bullpen on the other side. Plus, 6 trade targets for the Padres from Jim Bowden that we'll react to coming up at 3 p.m. as well. This is Jon and Jim, San Diego Sports 760, live on the iHeartRadio app. All right, make sure to download the all-new iHeartRadio app when you do it. Put San Diego Sports 760 in your presets. You can listen to the show, Jon and Jim, weekdays from 2 to 6 p.m. Put Jon and Jim in your presets. Listen back to any hour or interview, including our conversation just a moment ago with Jesse Rogers from ESPN. We'll hear from Mike Schilt coming up in a moment. Jesse had some interesting names regarding the trade deadline, including Jarren Duran. He does think the Red Sox outfielder will move. He mentioned Marcell Ozuna as well. Padres will have options. He also said he didn't think there'd be movement until either late June or early July. He thought someone would get involved then, but he didn't think there'd be any movement until late June or early July. So if you're waiting for AJ to make that move here on June 10th, it may still be, I mean, maybe the earliest, Jim, is 3 weeks from now, and it could be as late as obviously the trade deadline, which this year is July 31st.
And one of the names he mentioned multiple times was Sandy Alcantara.
Yep,
who's
starter.
coming off of Tommy John surgery.
Is he pitching at all better than he was a month ago?
Well,
because his year's been awful, right?
It's been awful. I was actually looking that up. Let's see here. This year, Johnny's 2-7 with a 7.89 ERA, 44 strikeouts and 57 innings pitched with a 1.58 WHIP. I'm looking at his game.
Great.
No.
Has he been better recently? Because his ERA might have been over 8 a couple of weeks ago.
So his ERA in May was 8.64.
Yeah. Okay. He's not on my list.
His last start, John, though, 6 innings, 4 hits, 2 earned runs, 4 strikeouts, 1 walk. Now, again, that was against the Colorado AAA Rockies.
Oh, then move DeVries for him based on that start? DeVries and Salas.
Yes. I was gone when he pitched against San Diego. I didn't realize that.
Yeah. He pitched here,
sucked.
right? Yeah.
Yeah.
He's been awful.
4 innings, 6 earned runs.
He's been awful.
No strikeouts, 4 walks. Oof.
Yeah, I mean, if you need starting pitching, that's probably not the first place I'm turning, truthfully.
If he was pitching better, if his ERA was around even 5,
then you'd say,
I would say, hey, get him with Ruben, fix him.
But 8?
Yeah.
8 ERA?
And his whip's awful. It's not striking out guys.
I mean, you improve a guy with an 8 ERA, what do you turn him into? A 6?
A 5 at best, maybe.
Yeah. I don't know, but I do think they need starting pitching. I do think they need to address left field. All right, let's hear from Mike Schilt, because rarely do you hear Mike Schilt make any type of admission about his team that isn't positive. But he actually went there last night, and he went there talking about Robert Suarez and why he didn't elect to use Suarez for a second inning. He goes into the situation with their starting pitching right now as well.
Yeah, it was consideration. I mean, it's really tempting, the first couple guys we prefer to have righties on. Actually, Baez is a little more neutral. Tommy's the guy we want the righty on. Kiki's in there. He's a little more neutral too, but it's the back end of 3 out of 4 and 10 pitches, and he's carried the mail for us, and a lot of guys are carrying the mail. We're trying to, we're not trying, we're doing it. We're piecing it together and competing at the same time, but we're going to need some depth out of some starters.
All right. I would normally react to what we just heard from Mike Schilt, but what Jim just told me is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard, that it certainly warrants us talking about it. Say what you just told me while Schilt was saying that.
Again, this is something I just read on social media, and I'd probably have to do a little more research on it, so I don't know if I want to put this out there.
But it's on social media, Jim.
Okay. But
everything on social media is true. Okay. We can do it at the top of the hour.
Well, I mean, I don't know why he would lie, but our buddy Padres blogger.
Yeah, I don't think you get this wrong.
No.
What do you tweet out?
This is in regard to the everybody knows what happened with the plane. Now they had a flat tire in Milwaukee. They ended up playing
baseball outside on the tarmac.
Bottle cap ball outside on the tarmac for 2 hours.
They were 6 hours delayed, according to someone last night in our chat. He said
6.
That's the reason why they lost last night. They didn't get it. He said, he basically suggested, why didn't they just leave earlier? Forget about the flat tire. Just get back up in the sky. You got to get back home.
Yeah, if you 100% chance of landing and being safe, or 85% chance, take the chance.
Save the 3 hours.
Yeah.
Well, however much time it was at least they were on the ground for an extra few hours because of this flat tire, right?
Yeah, Brandon Lockwood would have caught that ball if it took off on time in Milwaukee.
Because he would have gotten a full night's rest.
Right. Xander Bogaerts would have come up big.
Oh, he would have come through with 2 outs in the 10th.
Oh, he would have hit a 2-run walk-off home run.
His brain was still in the other time zone.
Correct.
Exactly.
So I guess there's a Bleacher Report on-base podcast that Jackson Merrill was on and said, taking off from San Fran, we were a little wobbly. When we landed in Milwaukee, it was a hard landing. Something might be up.
So this is when San Fran to Milwaukee.
So they might have flown from San Francisco to Milwaukee with a bum tire on their airplane.
But then coming from Milwaukee back to San Diego was 3 days later, and the plane still had a flat.
They might not have looked at it. I don't know.
And then was it Merrill getting back on the plane?
Merrill's like, hold on. The tire looks a little flat over there.
A little flat. Well, that's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard, if that's factually correct.
And I know you and how you are like, if there's not a 150% chance of this plane landing safely, I'm not getting on it.
Well, no, I'm not a big, hey, it's 90% safe guy.
I know you're
on
not.
A plane. So I would like to think that the FAA has more like stringent regulations than a baseball player being like, I think the tire's flat. I'd like to think that the mechanic is checking the plane.
I do. I hope so.
Before takeoff.
Maybe Jackson Merrill in another life has, it would be a great TSA agent.
I don't even know where to go with that. What Mike Schultz just said was that the starters need to give them more length.
Correct. That's 100%.
But
I need more length, guys. Give me some length. Pause.
You're asking for 7 from Cease.
At least 7.
At least
pause.
7 from Cease.
I need more.
You need 8.
I need 9
from Cease.
Yes.
Tonight.
Not really, but I do need at least minimum
7.
6 innings.
Well, you might get 4.
You might get 3.5.
No, there's no 3 and a half.
3 and
There's no 3.5 you're getting.
3 1/3.
Yeah, you might get right.
3 1/3.
3 1/3, 3 2/3. Yeah.
Bad Jim.
Yeah.
Idiot. You don't know baseball. 3.5 innings.
Would you take the over or the under?
Stupid.
Over under on 5 2/3 innings tonight, or 5.5 because you can take over under because you can't land on it. Would you take over or under 5 1/2 innings? Therefore, is he going to get 2 outs in the 5th or in the 6th? Is he going to get 2 outs in the 6th?
I would. I'm gonna need more, dude. I need.
That's not even
more.
good enough. You're saying?
I need more. I need 6.
So you want the over under? You're going to set it.
I need him to
6.
pitch into the 7th. I'm not saying get through the 7th, but you need to pitch into the 7th.
Okay.
And if he gives up 4 runs tonight, okay, but you need to give length, dude.
He pitched 7, but he gave up 11.
Well, then it's up to the Padres. Well, it's up to the Padres offense to also put up some runs tonight against a who the hell knows pitching for the Dodgers.
TBD.
Ooh, TBD's good.
Because they haven't announced the starters of yet, have they? I'm assuming it's a bullpen day.
Probably.
Which has
been a problem for the Padres.
Very well for the Dodgers.
Yeah.
Against the Padres.
Well, don't you agree? You need to pitch into the 7th tonight?
Potentially. I mean, you look at who they used yesterday. They didn't use Jason Adams, but you can't use Jason Adams going to need a day or two. He pitches so much.
He's on pace for like 90 appearances.
No, you're right. They could use. I would say they need 6+ innings. I would not at all be upset if Dylan Cease went 6 innings and then the bullpen took over in the 7th inning.
Now, they do have an off day on Thursday, which is nice, but you can't just tax these guys up until an off day and be like, it's okay, we have an off day tomorrow.
Yeah, you're good. You have
fine.
1 day off.
Yeah.
So we're going to use you for 39 pitches.
Like, we have 115 games left in the season.
But
it's
there's
fine.
an off day.
There's an off day on Thursday, so we're good.
And enjoy it.
They need Cease in the biggest way tonight.
They really do. I mean, they needed him in the biggest way on 3 days rest in October of 2024. That didn't work. Okay. I mean, they really needed him. And they really need him tonight. And what are his numbers now for the year, Jim? Does he have 4 what? ERA?
He's 1-5, John.
Is 1 win?
1 win. He's 1-5 with a 4.72 ERA. That's not good enough, and it's not even close to good enough.
Yeah, he's supposed to be your ace. He's supposed to get $200 million this offseason.
Do you think that he's cost himself any money so far?
Maybe not yet. I do think if this is his body of work and he finishes his year like this, he goes into the offseason with a 4.7, 4.8 ERA. I think it'll cost him money. Like, I don't know how much.
Like, what if he ends the year 6-11 with a 4.8 ERA?
I don't know. I don't know what to think of that. Truthfully, if he's healthy, maybe not.
I can tell you, whoever would sign him for $200 million, that fan base would be like, "Are you serious?
Why do you sign this guy?
Like, what?"
Right? Because that would not be the first example of him having a high ERA. In the last 3 or 4 years.
When he was on the worst
Sox.
team in baseball history, the White Sox, the ERA was, I think, in the 4. It was in the 4s,
high 4s, 2 years ago.
But he also then before that, put together a runner-up Cy Young Award season. And then last year, 4th in Cy Young voting. So it's like, it's in there. He's done it. He's shown it. His problem is just consistency right now.
Yeah, his command this year has not been good.
No.
Like, it really hasn't. All right. 6 trade targets for the Padres from Jim Bowden at The Athletic. We'll share those names with you. On the other side, we have a 4-pack of tickets to see Dierks Bentley to give away. We'll do that in the 4 o'clock hour. We are here until 6, getting you ready for game 2 of the Padres and the Dodgers down at Petco, right here on Jon and Jim, San Diego Sports 760, live on the iHeartRadio app.
All right, this update's brought to you by Wendy's. Padres lost game 1 last night to the Dodgers in extra innings, 8-7. Game 2 is tonight at Petco Park, 6:40 first pitch. TBD on the mound for the Dodgers. He's had a good year against Dylan Cease for the Padres. Dylan Cease is 1-5 with a 4.72 ERA. Big news, bacon lovers. Wendy's Son of Baconator is only $3 for a limited time. For just $3, you get crispy, crunchy apple smoked bacon, 2 juicy beef patties, and plenty of cheese on a burger. For bacon that just won't quit, gotta be Wendy's.
It took 10, but the Padres fall to the Dodgers at Petco.
8-7 in 10 innings. Dodgers over the Padres.
Game 2 is tonight. Can Mike Schilt and the fellas bounce back and gain ground in the West? Time to react and prepare for tonight with Jon and Jim.
All right, San Diego and Southern California, what's going on? This is hour 2 of Jon and Jim. We've got some trade targets from Jim Bowden at The Athletic to share in a moment. You're going to hear from Will Smith, Dodgers catcher, on that playoff atmosphere from last night coming up as well. His thoughts on that playoff atmosphere down at Petco Park. I don't know if you've seen this list, Jim, but I'll share it with you right now.
What do you got?
Jim Bowden wrote trade targets for all 30 teams. Like that's a lot of legwork from the former baseball general manager, but he works for The Athletic now. So for the Padres, what do you think his biggest need is at the deadline for the Padres? Is it pitching? Is it catching? Is it left fielding?
Left field.
Left fielding is the left field need.
I'm gonna say left field.
Left fielding?
Yeah, left fielding.
You are correct. Ding.
Ding.
Here are the names he lists. Some of them are new to our discussion because we've mentioned a lot of names a lot of times. Like Jarren Duran is one of the 6 players. All right. No surprise there with the Red Sox. Taylor Ward is one of the 6 players. No surprise there with the Angels, right? He's had the big power numbers for a team that's under 500. Here's some other names, though, that haven't necessarily been thrown around as much. Jesus Sanchez with the Marlins, who are out of it.
Yeah, Jesse Rogers just said Marlins open for business.
Yep, open for business. Kyle Stowers, who was with the Marlins. So both Kyle Stowers and Jesus Sanchez, we can look up their numbers. Lourdes Gurriel Jr. with the Diamondbacks. I don't see that between the Padres and the Diamondbacks.
Not in division, no.
And then Adolis Garcia with the Rangers. So those are the 6 names he listed. His favorite target, Jarren Duran. If that wasn't feasible, he turned to Taylor Ward for the Padres. So he gives you 6 names, a couple of which we've talked about, like Duran and Ward, but maybe some under the radar names as well, including Adolis Garcia with the Rangers, a couple of Marlins in there as well, and even a Diamondback in there potentially for the Padres.
I do like me some Adolis Garcia back in like 2022.
3 years ago?
Yeah. Maybe not Adolis Garcia in 2025. His last 2 years for the Rangers have been not good.
Right.
But he did put together, a 3-year stretch where he was one of the better players in the American League.
So he was Yuli Gurriel. I mean, that's like
kind of.
We said the same thing about Gurriel through like 2021, maybe.
Well, no, not kind of. Like Yuli Gurriel, this guy Adolis Garcia is like Barry Bonds, compared to Yuli Gurriel.
You're saying Barry Bonds this year, or
just in general?
Garcia's been better than
way
Gurriel.
Better. Not even close. Gurriel had one really good power year. Adolis Garcia, even though he's having a bad season, he's still on pace for 20-plus home runs.
Mm-hmm.
And the last 4 years, 31 homers, 27 homers, 39 homers, 25 homers.
Yeah, like give me the influx of power. Because when you think about this team, I don't think of even Manny Machado when he's going. I'm not thinking about some crazy power numbers. They'll be good. We know they'll be good. It's not going to be crazy. Tatis, I mean, the power, how can you rely on it right now? I mean, he's just a shell. Jackson Merrill's hit 1 home run since his injury. 1 since his injury. Gavin Sheets, are we going to count on this all year, guys? I mean, is he really going to hit 30-plus home runs? I hope he does. But that's wishful, isn't it?
You might have gotten the best out of Gavin Sheets so far. Who knows?
Potentially.
I hope he continues. I mean, he's got his own chant.
He does.
And his own shirt.
He does. But don't they need they need an infusion of power? At least you got to try. There's no guarantee you bring a player to San Diego and Petco and it works. We've seen that before. But go find someone that's capable of hitting 30-plus home runs over the course of a season and see if you can get that 10-plus home runs over 2 months.
Well, did you mention the name that Jim Bowden has like on the top of his list for the Padres?
Jarren Duran?
Not Jarren Duran.
Taylor Ward?
Taylor Ward.
He's got Jarren Duran on the top of his list.
Well, close to the top is also
Second is
Taylor Ward.
Yeah, he's how many home runs now? He had
17.
Yeah,
17.
So that's a name. That's a good name.
But you're also I'm just a little worried. I've been on the top of the mountain screaming for Taylor Ward since the Angels came here back a month ago.
Yeah.
Like there's your guy. Mm-hmm. There's your guy right there. And we've seen this a lot in baseball when a guy for a bad baseball team puts up some really good numbers. He's the hot guy at the trade deadline. Team goes out, trades for him. Look at this guy. Look at the baseball numbers he has. He has 22 home runs. He's got 65 RBIs. He's amazing. Comes to the new team, hits like 3 homers and 15 RBIs.
Right.
And it makes in his seasons like, oh, he had 28 home runs with 90 RBIs.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, well, he got traded and he went and just sucked with that new team.
Mm-hmm.
So you're asking yourself, has Taylor Ward already given the best production of his season so far with the Angels, or could he still replicate that wherever he would go?
I always feel like it's such a huge unknown. Like when you just make a deal and pluck a player at the deadline and put him elsewhere, if you expect identical production, you're expecting a lot. It's possible. Sometimes maybe you get better production, but oftentimes you end up with like an Adam Frazier situation. Not that he came here for power, but he came here to hit, and he didn't do that.
That was so stupid. They got Adam Frazier when they already had a second baseman and Jake Cronenworth, who's an all-star, and they needed a left fielder. And so what they did is they just put Adam Frazier in left field. It was so dumb.
Work out. Or even like a Juan Soto. I mean, to be fair, go look at his numbers in the second half of the year they traded for him. What did he hit here?
215.
Yeah, he didn't really hit here for average. So if Juan Soto didn't hit here for average, there's no guarantee Taylor Ward will, or any of these players. Now, I say the risk is worth the reward. You're not giving up high-level prospects, I wouldn't think, to go get some of these players. Now, maybe to get Jarren Duran, it would, but to go get Taylor Ward or some of these other names that, like a Jesse Rogers mentioned earlier, you got to go try to improve this, and you need to do it hopefully sooner rather than later. Because right now it's staring at you every single day. This is an offense. Jesse Rogers has told us it's an overrated offense. And it's kind of hard to disagree with that.
Kind of agree with that. You know, Jackson Merrill, love him. Absolutely love Jackson Merrill.
Mm-hmm.
But he has definitely cooled off.
Yeah.
For sure. And now at the start of the year, we were asking questions like, is this guy a 30 home run guy? Now I don't see that.
Feels like 20 would be nice for the year.
I would take 20 right now.
Mm-hmm.
Off of his season last year, I would take 20 right now. And him being injured, missing 20 to 30 games?
25, yeah.
Yeah. So he gets 20 home runs, then maybe he's closer to a 30 home run guy, but still, I'd take 20 right now from Jackson Merrill. So the middle of your lineup, you're going to have Manny Machado, who is going to get around 26, 27, 28 home runs with his team. He's going to get his numbers.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have Jackson Merrill hitting cleanup, maybe around 20. And after that, like, who knows with Jake? I mean, Xander's a lost cause, and their left field and their catching spot are just complete black holes.
Other than that, yeah, I mean, this offense, I know
Luis Arias has no pop, like zero pop. He's been slumping, and Tatis
hasn't had much pop.
Is all in his head right now.
Yeah, I've just been looking, like you've mentioned this a couple times this year, just general run scores, like simple stats, right? Just look at how many runs the Padres have scored, 266, and they've done that in 65 games. Someone do the math on that.
You do it.
Well, they scored 21 in one game, but 266 in the National League is, it's towards the bottom. It's in the bottom third of the National League. The teams that have scored fewer runs than the Padres, the Marlins, the Pirates, and the Rockies. Let me say it again.
Yep.
Teams that have scored fewer runs. And tell me if I'm missing someone. No, that's the list. Teams that have scored fewer runs, the Marlins, the Pirates, and the Rockies.
And they've scored the exact same amount of runs as the Atlanta Braves.
But like you tell me now, not you, Jim, but like our listeners. Now our listeners agree. Like, I think Jesse Rogers is right. Like, the offense has been overrated.
Mm-hmm.
And it's been more like living off the name. Like, there's stars in there, but they haven't necessarily produced like they're being paid to produce. So I'm not saying
Oakland A's have scored Oakland A's. The Sacramento A's have scored more than you.
And I'm not saying that go get a left fielder and all of a sudden your offense is fixed. It's probably not as simple as that, but at least go try to improve this offense.
I can guarantee you that they're going to try.
They'll try. Yep, they'll try. Of course they will.
If not already right now.
I agree.
They are going to try. They have been looking. They have talked about this internally. They know this is not sustainable. They know that if
you think AJ's had like a Zoom meeting with his guys, like, hey guys, let's talk offense.
You think?
Come to my office. We'll grab some bagels.
They've known this from the jump, like from the start of camp. They've known that left field is a problem, and that they were just gonna start hope and just pray that like Jason Hayward and who else was was it Connor Joe that they initially had?
Yeah,
but at first it's all right. Can Jason Hayward just like give us something? And that's a name that we haven't talked about.
Hey, where is he?
I don't even. If right now you ask me, is Jason Hayward on this roster? Like, I don't know.
He's not active.
He's clearly not active because he hasn't played in forever.
Is Luis Campusano? We should play the active game for Trainwreck Radio. Is Luis Campusano active? The answer is yes.
Somehow.
Is Jason Hayward active? The answer is no.
Correct.
Is Michael King active?
No.
He's not.
Is Yu Darvish active?
No. Is Brian Hoeing active?
No.
Is Wandy Peralta active? Yeah, I mean,
the Luis Campusano thing that now you mention his name is one of the most ridiculous things ever.
Well, here's the reason I don't really have an issue with it.
Because who cares, right?
Exactly. And do you have a better option than him being your 26th man? And do you really want to see more of Luis Campusano? Like, is that what we're asking for? Is that like, man, I wish they gave him more opportunities. He's about to break through.
If they were a team that was playing for really nothing this year, other than just seeing guys improve, then you play them every day. We clearly know this team has no desire to play Luis Campusano behind the plate or put him in this lineup. They have completely ruined this guy as far as the big league level. Minor leagues, he's like Barry Bonds. But in the big leagues, they just don't want to play him.
I guarantee to you he's gone at the deadline. It's a guarantee.
I almost hope that he's gone because if I'm him, I want to go somewhere where I'm actually going to get a chance to be a catcher, to go out there and have everyday at bats. I think if he goes somewhere and a team gives him an opportunity, I think he could show some promise.
Sometimes you need the change of scenery. Mark the tape because I guarantee he's gone at the deadline. All right, we're going to hear from Will Smith on this budding rivalry between the Dodgers and the Padres and on that playoff atmosphere down at Petco Park. On the other side, plus if you missed Jesse Rogers from ESPN, you'll hear that at 4:30. And we have a 4-pack of tickets to give away to see Dierks Bentley coming up in the 4 o'clock hour. Keep it here. This is Jon and Jim, San Diego Sports 760 and live on the iHeartRadio app. All right, Jon and Jim, San Diego Sports 760. Remember last September, the Padres clinched a playoff spot at Dodger Stadium with that triple play. Do you remember that, Jim? Have you seen that play since?
I don't think I've seen it one time since.
Have you heard the TV
year.
call or the radio call from that moment before?
You know what? Now that you mentioned something, I do. I think I'm like, maybe they played it once or twice.
No, they played every half inning.
Oh, that's right.
On Padres.tv.
Every half inning, the triple play, and then Jeremiah Estrada striking out 13 in a row.
Correct.
That is
that's the entire history of the San Diego Padres at Padres.
And then Tony Gwynn's 3,000th
hit in Montreal. I know everything about that 3,000th hit, man.
That's it, dude.
I can see it in my mind when I put my head on the pillow.
It's
right. But
man,
remember one of our takeaways when the Padres clinched a playoff spot, not the division, wasn't it the very next day? Fernando Tatis Jr. and Mookie Betts did a podcast together.
Yes.
And Betts like, man, that triple play. I would say, we're like, wait a second, you're recording a podcast the day after the Padres, your quote unquote rival, clinched a playoff spot against you guys?
So surely no other Padres would have gone on a podcast with Mookie Betts later,
because
right?
there was a lot of commentary off of that.
Yeah.
And the Padres are playing 26 games in 27 days.
Yeah. And
so
there's
no time for podcasting.
Yeah. No time for podcasting whatsoever.
Well, we just found, thanks, I think, to Manny McNuggets in our YouTube chat who was talking about it. We just Googled it. And lo and behold, there's Mookie Betts or Jackson Merrill on the podcast today. That was released 4 hours ago on Bleacher Report.
You know, I did think, what was that about? Did you?
When they were like hugging it out?
Yeah. Do you remember in that game? It might have been.
It was early, wasn't it? It wasn't in the 10th, was it?
I don't remember exactly what point, but Jackson Merrill was on second base and gave the biggest dap to Mookie Betts that you'll ever see. And like big smiles on their face, dapping it up at second. I'm like, what's going on here?
I saw it with Betts and Bogarts, former teammates. Did you see that swipe tag after he was already safe on the steal? And he was like playful with him. He tried to take his hands off second, but it was like playful.
Okay,
that happened late in the game. Well, they were former teammates.
Right. But this interaction between Jackson Merrill, who was like the ultimate competitor.
It caught you off guard. It's like, oh, that's interesting.
It was. You have to go back. I have to go back and find it.
Okay.
It was such a huge, just like, what's up, bro? Like, I haven't seen you in 3 weeks.
So this goes back to our conversation continuing from last October or September. Do we have issues with this or not? Is it just a completely new world? We've just typed up for 48 hours the rivalry and 24 scoreless innings. And the Dodgers went through the Padres to win a World Series, their first true World Series since 1988. And oh, by the way, Jackson Merrill and Mookie Betts have a podcast together?
I do think, if I'm being 100% honest, I do think it's a little fake outrage.
Well, there's no outrage.
No.
Maybe, I think there was with Tatis.
Yeah.
I don't think there's much outrage.
But as a fan, do I like seeing that during the series when you hate the Dodgers as much as you do? Not particularly.
Yeah, don't you feel like they're kind of, some of it is like missing the mark? Like there's so much animosity. Look at the crowd last night. I mean, the back and forth with Dodger fans and Padre fans. Mm-hmm. I hate to use a word like hatred, but it's kind of hatred. It is. I mean,
well, it's not.
I'm not
that
saying
way.
That's good.
It's not that way with the players. You know, we are not in an era.
I know, but you can at least kind of pretend like it is. Has always been that point. Like,
yeah.
I mean, listen, I don't like what Will
Manny
Smith
hates Dave Roberts.
I mean, they haven't talked all offseason, according to Dave Roberts yesterday. And
Profar hated Will Smith.
And Will Smith said this yesterday. At least he's playing along. He was asked about if there was a little something more, if this was a big game last night. This was post-game Will Smith.
Like you just picked right back up from last October. First 3 innings, like the way he was back and forth, it was just.
No, it felt like another game in June.
So, which again, I thought was to get kind of under the skin of the Padres, play along with the narrative. Like, I don't know what I'm trying to say, other than to me, it just, I don't think it's fake outrage for me. I've always been that kind of guy. Like, if we're going to say the Padres and Dodgers is the best series in the sport, I wouldn't necessarily expect two star players to be podcasting together. I said that last October too. That's how I felt. I still feel the same way. I'm not going to go lose sleep over it. I'm not going to go protest Jackson Merrill. I have his rookie card, but to me, it's a little odd. It's just as odd for Betts as it is for Merrill. I just find it a little odd.
How many Jackson Merrill rookie cards do you have?
Well, one.
But how many will you have?
One day?
Yeah.
Depends on if he hits. I mean, this guy's gonna have to produce.
No,
I'm not buying Mookie Betts rookie cards.
And I get it. Trust me. If like Draymond Green, who's Mr. Podcast now, during a playoff series,
Lakers,
or no, just this past postseason when they faced the Rockets and Minnesota. But I'm just using the Rockets as an example. And he had on Dylan Brooks on his podcast during the series. Like, as a fan, that would rub me the wrong way.
That's postseason. This is regular season.
But I will understand, and I'm not going to talk down to any Padres fan that has a problem or does not like Jackson Merrill going on Mookie Betts' podcast during this and it being released during the series.
Yeah, what about like December 3rd at the winter meetings? Hey, what a year. Hey, we're at the winter meetings with Jackson Merrill. Let's talk about it. But like in season, again, I'm with you. I'm not going to go crazy on it. My opinion is it's a little awkward.
We are in a different time,
no doubt.
And I'm not some old guy yelling at clouds. I'm 36 years old, but looking back in the day in just professional sports in general, if there were podcast forums back then, which there wasn't, but if there was, there is no way in hell I could see certain guys and a lot of players going on podcasts of players on other teams that they're competing against with during that series. That's just like crazy to me. I bet you if you ask, 50 players that played in just the early 2000s and then in the 90s especially, hey, would you have gone on X's podcast if you guys were playing each other? It'd be like, what? No, I hated that team. And that's like not how it is in professional sports nowadays. All these guys know each other. They're all buddies.
They have the same agent.
Yeah. Like, it's just a completely different landscape of sports that, I wish it wasn't that way because it makes the sport that much better when these rivalries are what they are, which is like, I don't like that guy over there and he doesn't like me. And we're going to go out there and we're going to compete against each other.
What's it called in wrestling? Serious question. Like, you follow the act because the act is like an extension then of the fans. Like, as in, if you got two bitter rivals,
a feud.
If you have a feud, I'm saying the act, like the act that you're playing. Like if me and you are rivals in wrestling, we wouldn't go to like a wrestling card show and hug it out, right?
I think it's called kayfabe. Like, you got to keep kayfabe, right?
Then how is that not? If that applies to something that's actually scripted, but again, is an extension of the way the fans see the sport, and that's scripted, then imagine real, true sport and the animosity towards fan bases. Then what message is it sending when the players are hugging it out and the fans want to punch each other in the face?
Yeah, but I understand what you're saying. Wrestling, it's a show, so it's like the show must go on type of feel. And the kayfabe part of it is if you're in a feud with somebody, you don't want to be seen out with that person at dinner or on their podcast, and because what it does different? For the fan, it's like you kind of lose a little bit of that, imagination that you want to have. You want to believe that these two guys that are wrestling each other hate each other.
Well, was it that long ago that Dave Roberts was calling out Manny Machado? And now it's, you know what I mean? Like, I'm just saying.
But Manny's not on like Dave Roberts' podcast drinking wine.
Good point. But I'm saying, isn't Merrill an extension of Machado as a teammate, and isn't Betts an extension of Roberts as a player? It gets a little fuzzy. It gets a little blurred.
Now, the one thing with Mookie Betts, while I don't like Mookie Betts because he's a Dodger,
he tries to be like a likable figure.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I can't be like, oh, I hate that guy like I do with Max Muncy. I hate Max Muncy. I hate Will Smith.
What do you guys think? I mean, does anyone have an issue with it or not? 877-767-4760 or text us 70470. Start your message with the word team. We'll get to the wrap at 4 p.m. If you missed Jesse Rogers from ESPN, some intriguing trade names for the Padres. You'll hear that coming up at 4:30. We've got a 4-pack of tickets to give away to see Dierks Bentley today as well. We're here until 6, getting you ready for Padres and Dodgers. This is Jon and Jim, San Diego Sports 760, live on the iHeartRadio app. Hey guys, it is Jon and Jim again for the all-new Jamul Casino Resort, the Players Place. Get there Saturday. The Players Party is this Saturday. $20 free play for everyone, 6 a.m. to midnight. Free food for all from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. in Jive Lounge. It's an event you're not going to want to miss. This Saturday, join up to start your summer off right.
And you know what's happening on Sunday, John?
I do. It's Father's Day for me.
That is correct.
And all fathers.
All fathers, John, not just you. And you can celebrate Father's Day with Father's Day brunch at Prime Cut. 10:30 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. this Sunday, June 15th. You can show Dad just how much he means to you with the decadent brunch at Prime Cut. They're featuring lobster tails and hand-carved prime rib. Make his day extra special with a meal he'll love.
Catch the Padres, NHL Stanley Cup, NBA Finals over at Tony Gwynn's Sports Pub. They've got great food. It's where fandom meets fantastic at the all-new Jamul Casino Resort, the Players Place.
All right, this update is brought to you by Rapid Radios. Padres and Dodgers, game 2 of their 3-game series tonight at Petco Park. 6:40 first pitch. Dylan Cease will be on the mound for the Padres, sporting a 1-5 record with a 4.72 ERA. Rapid Radios are instant push-to-talk walkie-talkies offering national LTE coverage and no subscription ever. Perfect for instant contact with an aging parent. For a limited time, go to rapidradios.com and you'll get an extra 60% off and free UPS shipping. Add code radio and get an extra 5% off.
All right, it is a true bullpen day for the Dodgers. I think they've announced their starter, Trevino, out of their bullpen.
Oh, yeah, that guy.
You know, Trevino, Lou Trevino, tonight for the Dodgers.
Lou Trevino.
Dylan Cease, opposite him. Wasn't it a bullpen day for the Dodgers in game 4 against Dylan Cease?
It was. Did not go well for the Padres.
That is correct. Padres lineup is what you'd expect it to be. Tyler Wade back in there and left. He's the player that's profiled on their graphic today.
Well, of course he is, because he had the best game of his career yesterday with 3 RBIs.
Yeah, what was I saying yesterday? How do you lose the game where Tyler Wade has a bases clearing triple?
You lose the Tyler Wade game.
They lost the Tyler Wade game.
Now
they lost the Gavin Sheets 2 home run, 5 RBI game.
They did. They lost the Manny Machado big game in San Francisco on getaway day last week.
That's right. They did.
So it happens. It does, but you want to make those games count, and they didn't. Did you see the catch probability from Tyler Wade's hit, the triple?
What was the catch probability?
That should have been caught. Yeah. It was about a
weird. He was just jogging to it.
Yeah, Teoscar Hernandez. I think it would have been a deemed a 4-star play, and he hasn't made any this year. I think it was deemed almost a 50-50
So there was a 50% chance it was going to be caught.
Yeah.
And he butchered it.
Yeah.
And it got by him and went all the way to the wall.
Yeah. And
what was the catch probability on Lockridge?
That's a good question.
I would love to know that.
Where do I find that?
I have no idea.
Okay. Anyway,
just Google maybe. I don't know.
Somewhere on
Google.
ChatGPT.
Ask ChatGPT. No, they don't have it.
They might.
Not in real time. It's not updated in real time.
It's true.
So anyway, you got same old. We said. Remember what we said yesterday? We said Jim was going to tweet about Tatis going through it if he started 0 for 2. And what did Tatis do? He had a hit.
He did. He said, "Not today, Jim."
I ended up going 1 for 3 with 2 walks. So, he reached base safely 3 times. And then there was still criticism last night. Well, he didn't come through with 2 outs at the bottom of the 9th inning. Okay. I mean, that's not the easiest spot to hit a walk-off home run in.
Did he walk?
I don't know.
Or no?
I don't think he walked. Did he?
He walked in a big moment in the 10th inning.
He did.
And then, no, it was the 9th.
It was in the 9th with 2 outs?
2 outs. He walked. Luis Ariz.
That's right.
Flied out to center.
But, again, Tatis, what's the saying? Like Rome wasn't built in a day. I don't think I'm just expecting him to hit 2 home runs and that's going to turn his season around. I don't know what I'm expecting. I'm expecting him to look like Fernando Tatis Jr. at some point. I thought yesterday, by and large, is encouraging. It wasn't 0 for 4 with 2 Ks, 1 for 3 with 2 walks. I mean, okay, it's a starting point. Hopefully, at some point, he has to break out, though. At some point, he's going to need the big hit. At some point, he's going to need the big home run. So, I mean, I don't know. I mean, we'll say it for forever until it happens. It seems like it makes sense against the Dodgers. He's performed well in his career against the Dodgers. He seems motivated against the Dodgers. We had another long conversation about this last night about Fernando Tatis Jr. So I do put a lot on his shoulders, truthfully. You can't just get away with Fernando Tatis Jr. slumping for the entire season. Like, he's going to have to produce.
No, he has gone now well over a month hitting sub 200 with little pop. That's got to change. He started out red hot. I'm not saying he needs to go back to that, but you need to get somewhere close. Like, if you're going to hit 260 the rest of the year, so be it. But you better hit for power. You better hit home runs. And if you're not doing that, then hitting 260 for the rest of the season, and that's actually would be way better than what he's doing right now because he's hitting under 200 for the last month plus. That's just not good enough, especially from a leadoff hitter.
Since May 1st, to your point, right? For over a month, is now June 10th. So for 40 days, roughly, he's hit 188 with an on-base percentage of 275. So he's actually walked a little bit, but 32 strikeouts in 34 games, 15 walks. His OPS, on-base and slugging for this slugger is 614 since May 1st. 34 games. 34 games is more than 1/5 of a season. So for more than 20% of the year, he's hit 188.
Do you think it's fair, or do we have to continue to wait to say that maybe Fernando Tatis Jr. will never be that 2021 player ever again?
Whoa. No, I know. I mean, I
think it's a fair question.
Yeah, but it's kind of like when you get home for Thanksgiving and you're like, Mom, I want to talk to you about like let's just have the turkey. I'm saying like he's only 26 is my point. Well, as in there is another side of that conversation where I'm making it up, where he has 5 seasons like 2021.
He's not,
but to your point,
he's not 32, he's 26.
Yeah, that's my only point. Like, it's a little, I think you can absolutely pose the question without saying it. You're not like, Fernando Tatis Jr. will never be the player he was in 2021. I guarantee it. You didn't say that. But to pose the question, I do think is at least fair. I think he'll be able to prove some people wrong with that. I hope he does with the 14-year, $340 million deal.
Well, he better.
But so I think it's a fair question. But I do think at some point he'll look like that player. I just don't know when. Look, that's my guess.
All of his power numbers have dropped significantly since 2021, coinciding with his injury to his shoulder and his wrist and his PED suspension.
Correct.
And the last 3 years now, or at least the last 2.5 years, he has been an average offensive player, like middle of the pack. I mean, he's not. His OPS was nice last year. I think it was 838. If I'm not mistaken. Maybe
it was 833.
833. Okay. but that's a far cry from a 960 OPS.
He was 965 career through 2021.
And now in the last 3 years, he is a sub 800
It's
OPS.
sub 800. Yeah. It's I have 796 since opening day 2023. Remember, he missed 2022.
Yeah. So I think it's a very legitimate question to ask. Have we already seen the best out of Fernando Tatis Jr.? And if we have, if 2021 was his peak and he is just this guy for the next 3-4 years up until 30, that's a problem. And it's also a discussion that nobody wants to have.
No one wants to have it.
About when he pre-PED suspension, he was one of the best players in the sport offensively. His numbers, can't deny it. He was had 600 plus slugging percentage in 1 year, and his OPS was a 960 guy, and now he's a sub 800 guy. That's just, it leaves his, what he did up to be discussed about. Why are you not the same player? Is it because of that? Is it not because of that? Is it because of injuries? Is it not because of injuries? But you can't have the discussion without mentioning it because it is a big part of the discussion.
All right. So through 2021, which is when he was 21 years of age, as a 21-year-old player, essentially, in 3 years, he hit 292 lifetime with a 369 on base, a 596 slug over the 3 years for a 965 OPS. He was elite. He was one of the best hitters in the sport from a power perspective.
Face of baseball.
Yeah, right there. Exactly. From that moment on, all right, so from 2023 on, he missed all of 2022 due to injury and suspension. From that moment on, he has hit 264, so minus 28 points in batting. His on base is 331, so minus 36 points in on base. His slug is 465, down 130 plus points. And his OPS is 796, and that is down 169, not 69, not nice, 169 points in OPS. 169 points in OPS. He's a young player. Mm-hmm. He's down 169 points in OPS over the last 3 years from his first 3 years.
I think Fernando's electric. I think that he's had moments in the last 3 years where it was like, whoa.
Oh, absolutely. September last year, October last year.
Yep. He has had moments. But as a player,
like a consistent player,
compared to what he was the first 3 years of his career, very, very underwhelming. And then you got to deal with like the injuries, and then you got to deal with like sad Tatis. And I mean, he's done some very nice things defensively. He's a Platinum Glove Award winner in right field. I think the move to right field has worked out for him.
Absolutely.
But man, offensively, you're just like, I really hope this guy's not this type of player for the rest of his career, because if he is, then that $340 million contract that we like never talk about is going to be discussed, because that's not worth $340 million what he's done the last 3 years. And the question of, the PED suspension, he did it to himself, guys. I'm not sitting here making any accusations. Like, he did this to himself. This is something that he brought onto himself, and he has no one to blame but himself.
He's going to have to hit in the postseason, which is who he's been. A 1328 career OPS in the postseason in 13 games. He's going to have to lead them at some point in the postseason. But yeah, I mean, it's fair to ask questions about Toddy.
He has let him in the postseason.
That's what I'm saying. That's what you're paying for. Like, get to the postseason, be that guy. It's way more than $340 million if you're that guy in the postseason.
Oh, yeah. If you go to the postseason.
If all of a sudden his postseason numbers now look like his regular season numbers, then you really start to question, wow, that's a lot of dollars. That's a lot of years.
And the good thing is, he has still a lot of time this year, as long as he stays healthy. And we don't find out some like random phantom injury that he's had. As long as he stays healthy, he has time this year to put up a season where he has 30 plus home runs, and he has OPS in the mid to high 800s. But that's going to take a lot of work now because of this massive slump that he has gone on since May 1st.
All right, we're going to get to the wrap at 4 p.m. We have Dirks Bentley tickets to give away in the 4 o'clock hour. You'll hear from Jesse Rogers from ESPN with more on the trade deadline coming up at the end of July at 4:30. Keep it here. It's Jon and Jim, San Diego Sports 760, and live on the iHeartRadio app. All right, the iHeartRadio Music Festival back. You can win your way in before you can buy tickets. Live performances by Maroon 5, The Offspring, Tim McGraw, and more. September 19th and 20th, T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas, 2 nights, 1 stage. Listen to win tickets before you can buy them, 9 a.m., 1 p.m., and 5 p.m., including airfare and hotel in Vegas plus $1,000. And our exclusive Capital One card holder presale starts tomorrow at 10 a.m.
So I'm a little tired today. Obviously my allergies are a little messed up, but
you're such an idiot.
But here's the thing. So I didn't go to bed last night till about 1:30. I mean, it was pushing 2 a.m.
Because of the game? Is the wrap-up show and your mind was racing?
No.
Because we signed off the wrap-up show what time? 11:30.
11:30-ish.
Yeah, because the game ended late.
Yeah.
We did an hour and 15 minutes. It's 11:30.
Yeah. And for late wrap-up shows, I'll probably, if that ever happens, like around midnight, 12:30, I'm out.
Mm-hmm. You mean you're asleep?
Yeah.
You're going to bed.
But last night,
you're up till 1:30?
1:30-ish, 1:45 a.m. Woke up this morning. I just felt tired. I started sneezing. I was like, and I'm blaming you. I'm 100.
Why? I wasn't. We weren't partying.
I'm 100% blaming you. You know what
I do?
You introduced me to the Whatnot app.
That's a really bad idea with you.
The Whatnot app
is dangerous.
If you don't know about it, you might want to stay away because it will consume your life. It's for trading cards and for Pokemon cards and football, basketball, every card you can. More than just cards.
These things every 10 seconds.
It's not just cards. It's like everything.
Everything.
Shoes, shirts, jerseys, like all of it.
Just like quick online auctions.
So I was watching a live stream with, I kid you not, 34 people in it at 1:30 a.m. And he was auctioning off
1:30 Pacific. There's 34 other people like yourself watching Pokemon content.
And he's auctioning off Pokemon slabs for like $10. But they're nothing that I wanted. So I didn't bid on anything, but I almost bid on a couple.
How long is it going to take until you bid on something? 1 a.m, sitting there, Aaron's asleep. You're sending cards.
Well, I already
to your house.
Thanks to you, I already followed like 7 different accounts because I wanted to enter my name into free giveaways. I hate you. And now I'm like looking at my cart on eBay and I'm like, okay, I just need $500.
That's all you need.
I just need $500 to get what I want.
Yeah,
That's
just 500.
And then after that, I'm good for a while.
Listen, it's affordable to live in San Diego. You're newly married. I'm sure you've got the money to waste.
Like,
I'm sure Erin's fine with it. She'll pick up the tab next time you guys go out.
Like, do I want this Pokemon Zapdos EX SIR PSA 9 card from 151?
Yes,
like, yes, I do. Do I want this PSA 9 Mint Charizard SIR from the Pokemon 151 PSA 9 card for $200? I kind of do need that.
It's amazing how the mind.
Your fault.
It's amazing how the mind works too. Like 3 weeks ago, like I wasn't even doing this, but now I'm like, can I really live without a 1983 Topps Tony Gwynn rookie? Like, can I even live? Can I go on anymore without a Topps Tony Gwynn rookie?
The answer is probably no.
Right. So that's why I'm thinking about buying one before the end of the show.
And take out the word probably.
Exactly.
Now, back in 2021.
Yeah, you were all in, dude.
I ended up doing this exact thing what I'm doing right now.
Right.
And I bought at the time a first edition Dark Dragonite card. Probably none of our listeners know what that is, but that's okay. Raw, not graded, for I think $215. And right now it's valued at a raw card, valued at like $350.
So you could have made $150 off it, you're saying?
No, I've already made $150.
Oh, because you already bought it. I thought okay, so you made $150 off it. Perfect. Sell that thing, buy the new ones.
But as soon as I bought it, I was like, oh man, I don't know if that was a good idea. But I also did not have you at the time pushing me.
Well, I'm not pushing
to continue to just, you know what? You need this card, Jim. Go do it. You need this card. Hey, look at this new website that I found. Hey, sign up for fanatics.com. Hey, look at this stuff on the Whatnot
app.
eBay. Hey, go to eBay.
I'm just saying, listen.
So you're a bad influence on me.
No, but it's a hobby. I'm not telling you to go do drugs. I'm not telling you to go podcast with like Dodgers podcasters. Like I'm telling you to, live a little. It's okay. We're allowed to have hobbies, right? It's a good thing. It's to be well-rounded, you need to be able to do something other than what we do. That's why I'm looking at sports cards. In addition to, calling games on the radio and doing sports talk radio, I feel like you got to be well-rounded. So it's okay.
Now, I do want to take a hard left turn here.
Okay.
And go to our YouTube chat because this person is currently watching us, Dodger fan. Just wanted to call this person out and call him an absolute moron.
Please do it. Please do it.
FG in the chat says, just scrolling and saw this crappy ass channel and read the headline and wanted to let you know you're like our stepchild we don't want. And I won't read the rest of that. So I will say to you, FG, you're the moron that is watching us and giving us views. So again,
you're the guy that when we're at the urinal in the corner, you race over to. Yes. Again, it is amazing how that works, right? We do a stream last night on YouTube. We have more people in the stream than any other game because you got Dodger trolls. Like, it is kind of amazing how that works. You think they'd be watching like Dodger channels or listening to Dodger shows, but they just can't stay away.
And guess what?
But it's not a rivalry.
Guess what?
And they don't care.
And you're blocked.
Just like that?
Just like that.
Oh, I would have preferred to keep him.
No, I wanted to.
What was his last comment?
That was his last comment.
Oh.
That was like 2 seconds ago. But anyway,
he had subscribed.
I know he did.
It's all good, dude. But that speaks to my point. Yeah. I'll full circle it for a second, not to make it too much of an issue. But when you got like the interactions between fan bases on social media and in YouTube chats and in stadiums, that goes back to my point on like Betts, Tatis from last year doing like Hug It Out podcast, then Marilyn Betts doing a podcast that we talked about 30 minutes ago. Again, inherently, there's nothing like wrong with it. I'm not going to be like, oh my gosh, this changes my opinion on these players. I'm just saying it doesn't go in line with the way the fans feel about it. And I just kind of would prefer if the players got in line with the way the fans felt about it and just go down that path with us a little more. You can absolutely, when stretching in the outfield, go over and say hello. Like if Merrill's stretching the outfield and they run towards center and Betts is stretching the outfield and he runs towards center and they say, how's your season going? Man, I'm coming off a hamstring. Hey, I hope you get healthy. Completely cool. I mean, they should. They're all part of the same union. I get it. They're all professional baseball players. But to go beyond it and to be seen in public or to be doing things on podcasts or video streams in the midst of a season, for me, it's a bit far. I get it. Nobody probably cares at the end of the day. It's something that I think some people care about. And that's my 2 cents on it.
It just takes away a little for me because when you see like in the stands, Padres and Dodgers fans screaming at each other to the point they become like almost like physical with each other. And you're like, dude, first of all, anybody that's throwing fists at a baseball game or any sporting event is the biggest like idiot moron loser on the planet. But you can talk trash, like talking trash and not obviously crossing a line is totally fine between fan bases. And it happens all the time. But then when you look out at second base, while a Padres and Dodger fan is calling each other the F word, and then at second base, Mookie Betts and Jackson Merrill are dapping it up, smiling and laughing.
Game in the 10th.
It just doesn't work. It doesn't fit together there.
I agree with you. I do. All right, we'll get to the wrap on the other side. If you missed Jesse Rogers from ESPN, you'll hear our conversation coming up at 4:30 with more on some Padres trade targets potentially between now and the deadline. We've got Dirks Bentley tickets to give away. We'll do that in the 4:00 hour as well. But we'll get to the wrap coming up next. Jesse Rogers from ESPN at 4:30. This is Jon and Jim on San Diego Sports 760 and live on the iHeartRadio app.
All right, this update's brought to you by Temecula Valley Balloon and Wine Music Festival. Padres and Dodgers, game 2 of their 3-game series tonight at Petco Park. 6:40 first pitch. Dylan Cease is going to be on the mound tonight for the Padres. Temecula Valley Balloon and Wine Music Festival by events.com is happening June 20th through the 22nd, featuring Walker Hayes, Cody Jinks, Alabama, Russell Dickerson, Midland, Big and Rich, and more. Get 3-day or single-day tickets now at TemeculaValleyFestival.com.
It's Jon and Jim.
What's on Dylan Cease tonight to be a stopper? That's what aces are. So he's got to be the guy to pitch effectively enough to give the Padres a chance to win.
Most important start of his season?
Yeah, without a close second this year. My guess.
Just this year.
Yeah, I don't think they're a close second. These games are elevated from it.
It's not even about that it's just against the Dodgers. I don't care who it would be against. They need to get length out of their starter team because their bullpen is taxed.
Now, time for Jon and Jim.
All right, San Diego and Southern California, what's going on? This is hour 3 of Jon and Jim here until 6. We'll hear from Mike Schilt, his pregame comments to the media. We'll hear those at some point this hour. We'll hear from Jesse Rogers of ESPN as well this hour on the Padres with the trade deadline about 6 weeks away. Plus, we're going to get to the wrap and give away tickets to see Dierks Bentley. Padres-Dodgers game 2 is coming up tonight at 6:40. And then a day game tomorrow, right? To cap
1:10 start time. So we'll have a Jon and Jim wrap-up show for you immediately following the game right here on San Diego Sports 760.
Looking forward to that.
And then we have an off day Thursday and then right back on the road for a 7-game road trip through Arizona, which will not be easy. And then 4 at Dodger Stadium, that dump up there in LA.
So that's what's to come over the next week or so for the Padres. So we'll hear from Mike Schilt coming up. But right now, let's get to this.
It's time for the wrap. Presented by Sombrero Mexican Food. Check out their website at sombreromex.com.
Was Denzel Clark's catch last night for the A's the best you've ever seen?
Dude, it was an incredible catch.
Insane.
Now, the TV broadcast effed it up because they immediately, did you see this? On the A's broadcast, they immediately switched camera angles right as the catch was happening.
Right, like, no, we need to see this in full.
I was like, what are you doing? If you're thinking about best catches that, like, recently, I mean, that's right up there. That's right up there.
In recent history, I was thinking about, like, an Edmonds, right, that dive.
Yep, Griffey's made a
couple. I mean, there's a lot of examples if you go back to like the 40s and 50s.
Yeah,
right.
Really
like the catch literally is called the catch. But like, now this is such a random game that he did it in. But if this was just all things being equal, the catch itself is right there. And if you haven't seen it, find it. Just Google Denzel Clark's catch.
It will be the catch of the year.
It's ridiculous. I mean, what he did, he was like a Spider-Man type player. Climbing a wall, going over a wall, bringing the thing back. It was truly an incredible catch. It's one of the best catches I've ever seen.
Like Ichiro's catch in right field to bring back a home run where he climbs the wall. I mean, it's just take out the names of players because no one's going to remember the name of this kid.
Right.
But the catch, if you just like put the catch up against all-time great catches in baseball history, I mean, it holds.
Yeah, I agree with that. It's a great catch.
Who was that Phillies guy that broke his face? Remember he ran into like the wall?
Oh, Aaron Rowan.
Is that who it was?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Like I remember that. Yeah. That wasn't like a jumping catch, but that was
remember the minors, someone ran through a wall to catch a ball, like in the 80s. He ran through a wooden wall that like it broke and he ran all the way through it.
Remember when Jose Canseco did run through a wall?
Yeah.
And it went off his wall, off his head over the wall?
Of course.
That was a great non-catch.
Next question.
Will Dylan Cease go 6 innings or more tonight?
I'm going to try to speak this thing into existence. He has to get into the 7th inning. That's just kind of like a non-negotiable for me tonight. Hey, Dylan, what's up, Skip? We need you to go into the 7th tonight. Okay.
I got you.
And you need to do it. You need to go into the 7th inning tonight, preferably finish 7 innings tonight, and just give the team a chance to win. That's what you're asking for of Dylan Cease tonight. And I know it's the Dodgers lineup. I know it's Ohtani, and I understand that, but it's not that's not a lot to ask from a guy that is looking to probably get $200 million in free agency this offseason, is going 7 innings.
Yeah, no, I'm going to bet on Cease, and I'll take the 6 innings tonight. I don't feel great about it because I've watched him pitch this year, and he hasn't looked like the pitcher we saw a lot a year ago. We haven't seen those dominant stretches, so hopefully it starts tonight. I mean, you couldn't ask for a better one. If you're going to be good, make it tonight in game 2 of the series against a team like the Dodgers and against a lineup like this. So hopefully it's tonight. I'll bet on Cease, maybe against better judgment, to go 6 innings. Next question. Oh,
whoops. And the report. Hit the wrong button. It's okay.
Yeah, it happens. Would you guys take Scotty Scheffler or the field at the U.S. Open?
Scotty Scheffler is on a roll right now. Rory, after he won his Masters, he's like, I'm good for the rest of the season.
Mm-hmm.
But Scotty is, he's a Terminator. You can't stop him. So I'm going to just do the safe bet and pick Scotty Scheffler. It's kind of hard right now to bet against the guy.
Right. So he's plus 280. The next shortest odds are DeChambeau at plus 700. No, I got to take the field, man. One golfer against the other 100 plus. I'm with you. I'll probably look stupid because Scheffler's been that dominant. He's got like as many wins as the Rockies over the last month. But I'll take the field. I'll take the field because, I don't know, any of these guys are capable, right? From Rory to DeChambeau to John Rahm to Xander Schauffele, whomever. Any of these guys are capable, so I'll take the field. But it's probably dumb. You're probably right. It'll probably be Scheffler. Next question.
Right, exactly.
Are the Oilers finished?
Oh, they're
the Oilers.
They're
They moved
cooked.
to Tennessee.
They're cooked. Done. It's over.
What happened last night? Like,
actually, no, I'm kidding. I have faith in my Oilers. I do.
Done, dude.
Do you remember what happened last Stanley Cup?
They lost.
Do you know how that happened?
In 6, right? Or 5 or 7?
You have no clue.
They lose in 7?
They went down 3-0 to the Panthers last Stanley Cup final.
Okay.
They ended up forcing a game 7.
They did?
Yes.
What happened?
They lost. I think it was 2-1 in that game. It was a close game. But even down 3-0 last year, they ended up winning 3 straight, forcing a game 7, and almost pulled off the miracle. So they're down 2-1 now. They got blown out in Florida last night, and they lost in overtime in game 2. But it was much worse last year. They were down 3-0 at this time last year. At least they're only down 2-1 this time. So there's still a chance, John.
Hey, Connor McDavid, if you're listening.
Step it up, bro.
Step up. Okay? I'm talking to you, Connor McDavid. 2 shots on goal. That's pathetic.
Well, he's not really like a goal scorer per se.
Okay. Well, I wanted to say that. Hey, Evan Bouchard. How about more than 1 assist? Okay. You lost 6-1. I don't. They're done, dude. Panthers have been in 3 straight Stanley Cups. They won last year against the Oilers. They lead the series. They've got home ice.
It's amazing how the Florida Panthers have become like the premier
Tampa before them
organization in hockey. In the NHL, they are like the gold standard.
You want to play the ratings game with the NBA Finals and the NHL Stanley Cup? You got problems in both areas because in the NHL, these are not. People aren't getting to their TV set to see the Panthers.
But
these aren't the Bruins.
But game 1, which I was texting with you back.
Oh yeah, you're like, you have to throw this on. You have to turn this on. It's amazing.
And game 2, which was in overtime.
Yep.
Game 2, that was crazy. Hockey in the postseason, man, it's just they might not score a lot of goals sometimes, but a lot of times it is just such a back and forth game, and it's a chess match, and man, is it exciting to watch at times.
No, I completely agree with that. I'm just saying I've given up on the Oilers.
Oh, okay. So now your team
premature.
Now you're sporting a Panthers jersey.
I'm not
over
rooting
there?
for them, but I just don't like the trend lines. The trend lines being they lost 6-1 yesterday. They lost game 2 at home, and again, I can't. A Canadian team has not won a Stanley Cup since 1993.
I know.
Imagine being an Oilers fan if they lose the Stanley Cup this year.
It's over
the Stanley
for
Cup
you.
back-to-back years, like the Buffalo Bills, or the San Francisco 49ers.
So last year, between both of these teams, all right, games 1 through 3, they go down 3-0. They lose 3-0, 4-1, 4-3.
So they were done.
They were done. Then they came back. They won game 4 8-1. They won game 5, 5-3. They won game 6, 5-1.
Right.
Then they lost game 7, 2-1. But in hockey, it can flip like that. And if you're down 3-0, you've seen it just as early as last year. Team can force game 7. Down 2-1. It's not over for my Oilers, bro.
If you end up being right, I'll give you credit.
Will you buy me a card?
Yeah, if it's like $9 or less.
That's going to be our new like bets.
Yeah, buy me a card.
Instead of like, hey, you have to buy me sushi, it's like, hey, buy me a card.
Well, I'll give you the example. If the Pacers lose tomorrow and lose home court, I'm going to say it's over.
But basketball is different. It's just
you're right. No team in the history of the NBA has come back from 3-0 down. Is that correct?
Correct, but they wouldn't be down 3-0. They'd be down 2-1.
But hockey teams, I'm saying, have come back from 3-0.
Yes.
So you're saying where it's different. Hockey teams have actually come back from 3-0. NBA teams haven't.
Right.
Baseball teams have even come back from 3-0. As rare as it is. I'm just saying I'm not going to feel good if the Pacers give up home court to an Oklahoma City team that's 29-1 against the Eastern Conference this year, heading into the series.
How did we get there? I thought we were talking about hockey.
We were, but you want to spend 7 minutes on the Oilers and the Panthers? Go ahead. What else do you have to add?
Hold on. You hear that?
Click.
We
haven't mentioned hockey in 3 years. You want to do the deep dive now?
I'm not gonna crap on hockey because I think the NHL playoffs are fantastic.
I know. I'm just saying, what do we have to add?
Not a lot.
That's all I'm saying. I mean, I haven't watched 1 second.
Yeah, I know you have,
and I know a lot of our listeners have. I'm just telling you the truth. I haven't watched 1 second of the entire postseason.
Yeah. Well, if the games are good, like if all of a sudden I see social media being like, this hockey game's amazing, I will 100% turn it on.
If we get to a 7th game and it's the 3rd overtime, I'll be there.
If we just get to a 7th game, I'll be there
for a 7th game. I'm with you. We were watching somehow 4 Nations this winter.
Yeah, that was great.
I mean, punches were getting thrown left and right 30 seconds.
There's been fights in this series. I think there was a fight last game.
No, I'm with you on the theater. I do think it's good theater. I would love to attend. I'd love to have an NHL team in San Diego. All those things that I agree completely on that. I'm just saying I feel like I've given up and the Panthers are going to win the series. I could be dead wrong. I haven't watched 1 second of it. And then in the NBA, I feel the same way, just in regards to if the Pacers go down 2-1, I feel like they'll be cooked. So game 3 to me is much bigger for Indiana. I think Oklahoma City can still win the series if they lose game 3.
Yep.
I don't think that Indiana wins the series if they lose game 3.
I agree.
So I'll be watching game 3 of the NBA Finals.
But please be a good game.
Yes, we could use, again, game 1 had a good finish.
It had a good finish, but it was not an overall good game.
You're right. It was a 15-point game with 5 minutes left.
Yeah. And after the first 2 games of the NBA Finals, you know how many people are talking about the NBA Finals? Nobody.
Me and you.
Well, besides me and you right now.
Okay, you're right.
I mean, you got on First Take this morning.
What were the ratings?
I don't even know. I haven't seen anything.
They're out. Yeah.
I mean, on First Take this morning, did you see this?
No.
You got one of their hockey analysts and Stephen A. Smith arguing over if who's a better athlete, NHL players or NBA players. I mean, just the lowest hanging fruit topics you could possibly imagine for that mind-numbing program.
So game 2 is watched by 8.76 million. It's the fewest viewers for an NBA Finals game outside the pandemic since game 2 of 2007. So 8.76. You predicted fewer viewers than game 1. You were right. 8.76 million viewers for game 2.
I think it was because it turned out to be a basically 15-point game the entire way.
Yeah, the whole way. It was not compelling.
Yeah. I'm surprised their topic wasn't, would LeBron James be the greatest hockey player of all time?
I'm like I couldn't listen to more than 10 seconds of the segment.
Right.
I saw it on social media and I was like, sure, I'll click on this stupid thing and see how ridiculous it is for a couple seconds. But I'm pretty sure, Brent, they did mention how LeBron James would be a great NHL player.
Of course they did.
So stupid.
It's so ridiculous. All right, we're going to hear from Mike Schilt as he is speaking with the media at this hour. So we'll share that with you when we have it. We'll hear from Mike Schilt. If you missed Jesse Rogers from ESPN, his thoughts on the Padres, also on their needs at the trade deadline. You'll hear that coming up at 4:30. We have Dirks Bentley tickets to give away this hour as well. This is Jon and Jim on San Diego Sports 760 and live on the iHeartRadio app. All right, Jon and Jim, San Diego Sports 760. We do remind you, AM radio keeps vital voices accessible. Congress can secure its future, but we need your help. Text AM to 52886 now to support keeping AM radio in cars. Tell your member of Congress to pass legislation now and keep AM radio in cars. Standard message and data rates apply. We have this bit of news. It's not overly big news, but it is news. From Annie Halpern, friend of the show, Jason Hayward will begin a rehab assignment on Friday in AAA El Paso.
Oh,
so help is on the way. All right.
Can't even say that with a straight face.
Help is on the way. Jason
Help is on
Hayward.
the way.
If 2016 Jason Hayward was coming, help would be on the way. But 2025 Jason Hayward, we'll see. He will begin a rehab stint in El Paso. What is he rehabbing? I'm not sure.
Yeah, I don't know.
But he will begin that on. Like, at what point do you need Jason Hayward? I mean, maybe you do, considering what they're throwing out there right now.
I think if you're asking, would you rather have Jason Hayward and a player that AJ Preller brings in via trade, or a player that AJ Preller brings in via trade and Brandon Lockridge? I think I might choose Hayward and the mystery player that AJ Preller trades for.
Right. So if you're going to use a platoon, he would still potentially have a role in there. If you go find someone that can play every day, maybe he's just a bench piece backup.
Like, let me ask you this:
fifth outfielder.
Does Jason Hayward make that catch last night in left field?
Yeah.
Okay.
But Lockridge should make that catch.
But
Lockridge is there for the defense.
I know, but he didn't.
Well, we'll never know if Hayward actually caught it. But yes, Hayward will make that. Everyone makes that catch. I need to see the catch probability. It should have been 90%. He came in. He looked like a deer in headlights.
Yeah, he didn't know where the ball was. He's
exactly.
Like, what?
Exactly. And it was like you kind of get what you earn. You reap what you sow. Mm-hmm. They asked for what happened last night. I stick by that. They asked for it with their defense. Whether it was the Morejon throw, Manny throw, ball lost the twilight, that's not their fault, but you get the point. The ball in left field that Lockridge misread. You can't get away with that against the Dodgers. I say that a lot with the Padres, that the Padres make average teams look bad because they capitalize on errors. That's who the Padres have been under Mike Schilt for the last 2 years. They take advantage of fourth outs. And unfortunately, the Dodgers capitalize with those 2 runs there in the top of the 10th inning. So hopefully they are better defensively here tonight. Hopefully Dylan Cease gives them a better chance than Nick Pivetta. Because Pivetta yesterday led 5 runs, Yeah,
he didn't give the team the length that they needed.
You gonna sneeze? Okay, it's just the first on air.
That's the first one.
And I set the over under. What'd you set it? 4.5?
I said 3.5.
3.5. Okay. Well, you still are in a good spot to hit the under.
Now we haven't said it. I have sneezed twice during
the breaks. So you're
sneeze.
Your combined sneezes are 3?
I'm 3 right now. 2 hours and 22 minutes into the show. And we said that it was probably going to be a total of 11.
Yeah, so you're hanging in.
I'm doing good.
Yeah, you're doing fine.
If you took the over, you're sweating it out right now.
Joke's on you.
Yeah.
That's hilarious. So, yeah, the point being that, again, you're not going to get away with it against the Dodgers. We all know that. It's only 1 game in June.
Yep.
It's not determining their season.
Nope.
Nor will tonight. You made the point yesterday that I agree with. You could go 2-5 against the Dodgers over these 7 games. You get swept in one of these series. Yeah. It likely doesn't determine your fate. They count. 3 games would count if you got swept in this series. But you got to be careful here not to fully overreact. I'm all for reacting. I'm all for the fandom of it. But to fully overreact is probably, not. It's misguided.
Yeah. If you don't play well against the Dodgers here, and like you said, if you go 2-5 against them, it will make things feel much, much, much worse than they actually really are.
Mm-hmm.
In real time, man, is that going to suck? If that does happen, I'm going worst case scenario, or at least close to worst case scenario.
Right.
And oh, by the way, throw in 3 games in Arizona, again, a place that just it is not friendly for the Padres.
Mm-hmm.
So would it behoove the Padres to just kind of play, I don't know, 500 baseball the rest of this little mini stretch here? I think we would take that.
Yeah,
I would. And you know what? Even if they don't, again, sky's not falling. It's June 10th. This team has proven, or at least has shown, they were 50-50 last year and they went on a run. Now, am I expecting another historical run like that this year? No, I'm not. But you still have the trade deadline to get better, to improve. You still have second half Schilt. You still have the return of Yu Darvish and Michael King somewhere down the road. Those are all positive things. And if you don't play well in the next week here against the Dodgers and the D-backs, those positive things are on the horizon and they will come and things will be better, hopefully. But it's not the end of the world right now if they don't play well against the Dodgers here. We all know, by the way, it's not about what the Padres do against the Dodgers in the regular season. It's all about what they do in the postseason if they were to meet them again. That's all that matters.
Yeah, that's right. And by the way, what does it say about Dylan Cease that against a bullpen day, he's even odds? He's minus 110 tonight. So are the Dodgers at Petco Park. All right, we'll hear from Jesse Rogers on the other side. Great baseball voice from ESPN, working with Jeff Passan. His thoughts on the NL West, on the Padres at the deadline. We'll hear from Jesse Rogers from ESPN. On the other side, we've got Dierks Bentley tickets to give away this hour as well. Don't go anywhere. Jon and Jim, San Diego Sports 760, and live on the iHeartRadio app.
All right, this update is brought to you by Superstar Car Wash. Padres and Dodgers tonight, game 2 of their 3-game series. 6:40 first pitch. Dylan Cease on the mound tonight for the Padres. If you know, you go at Superstar Car Wash. They're proud to have over 550,000 members. Be in the know and try what everyone loves today. Text Super CA to 27800 to get 50% off their best wash. Terms and conditions apply.
All right, we have Dirks Bentley tickets. We'll give away in 15 minutes. We'll hear from Mike Schilt in the 5 o'clock hour. Padres Dodgers are just 2 hours away from Petco at 6:40. If you missed our conversation, we had a great conversation with Jesse Rogers, ESPN. He works with Jeff Passan. We talked about Padres at the deadline, the NL West, and more. And we started this conversation today asking about rivalries in the sport and where Padres Dodgers right now stacks up.
Yeah, I mean, it certainly is past Dodgers Giants. I think everybody out there would probably agree with that. I mean, it takes a couple playoff series to kind of get things going in that direction. Maybe, both teams spending a lot of money. Check both those boxes, right? The Padres spent, the Dodgers we know spend. They faced each other in the playoffs. So I would say it's as good as any rivalry going, especially considering Dodgers Padres wasn't a huge thing a few years ago. It was always the Dodgers and Giants for many, many years. So again, kudos to the Padres for sort of jumping into that category where they can say they're a rival of the Dodgers. I'm located in Chicago where, we try to make a Cubs Sox thing going, but there's almost never been a season where they've both been good. So it takes a lot for a rivalry to sort of materialize, and I think that's happened with LA and San Diego.
Padres got off to obviously the red hot start, 14-3. They've cooled off here. They've had injuries. They're now 9 games above 500 from a distance. And watching the Padres, where do you feel about where they stand right now? Being 9 games over and sitting in the wild card race here in the National League.
Certainly in the mix. Obviously, they've proven that they're a decent team. I do think this is going to be a weird thing to say, but I think from the outside looking in, I think their offense is a little bit overrated. And I mean, by names alone, it looks like it should be better, but there's holes at the bottom. I feel like they're like almost an old school National League lineup, really good for a long while and then at the bottom, it's like that catcher pitcher situation. Well, it kind of exists for left field and catcher in San Diego. And when you, again, talk about the names on paper, there probably should be a little bit more power there. Now, Jackson Merrill was hurt, but he's back and he's hitting the ball, not necessarily out of the park. Xander Bogaerts, not necessarily out of the park. So I like their offense. I don't love their offense for those couple reasons. Now, maybe the power will pick up, but we know when it comes to October, you need power. You need, as many guys in the order going. And I do feel like there's a little bit of hole at the bottom there. When Merrill was out, I thought it was really exposed. I really thought it was a 1 through 5, 1 through 6 lineup, and it really got exposed. Now that he's back, it's a little bit better, but still, Gavin Sheets has been, quite the find there. Without his power, where would you be in terms of the slug? And again, getting almost nothing out of left field and catcher. If you look at OPS and some of the other numbers. So I think their offense, I think the answers are internally, to be honest, and you just got to have the best 1 through 7 possible, unless AJ can find a catcher on the market that can hit, not exactly a position that grows on trees. Probably find a left fielder / DH out there. Marcell Ozuna probably be available if the Braves are out of it. So he could improve his offense a little bit, but I do think it has to come internally. And then obviously if Yu Darvish returns, that's going to look a lot better on the mound. The one thing is the Padres can pitch out of the bullpen. That will keep them in the race alone.
Yeah, it's really good perspective. Jesse Rogers, ESPN, with us right now on Jon and Jim. I'm curious to get your thoughts on Xander. It's his 3rd year with San Diego. If you look at his numbers in Boston compared to San Diego, there's a stark difference. His OPS is down almost 100 points. He has a 637 OPS this year. He's hitting 232. He was given $280 million. How bad of a deal is this, in your opinion?
I mean, all these deals eventually look bad. The key is to get the front end. And look, I would say it's easier to hit at Fenway than Petco, right?
Yep.
But he did it 19 home runs that first season at Petco. You're not asking him to be Aaron Judge, but he needs to be that version. I mean, he's on pace for, I think, less than 10 home runs this season.
Yeah.
That's not going to really cut it for the amount of payroll he's taking up. And and what he did just short 2 years ago. And I'd ask him to even be the earlier version where he's hitting 30-plus home runs. So I haven't watched him enough to know if his power's been completely zapped. But, you signed a guy for that huge contract at age 30. You expect closer to age 37, 38 where he might lose his power. Power usually ages okay. It's speed and other things that you worry about. So I do wonder what's going on there. Maybe he's just off to a slow start in the final 3.5 months. We'll see a power surge, but certainly you need more. You need more for the amount of payroll he's taking up.
Do you feel like Shohei Ohtani is having maybe a better start to this season than he had last year? And could we see maybe better numbers than maybe not the stolen bases, but I mean, the guy's on pace for 50+ home runs already. He's put together another MVP campaign, it looks like, here to start 2025.
Yeah, I really don't differentiate his seasons. They're just all incredible, right? He won't steal as much. He's trying to get back on the mound. And when he does that, and if he's successful, watch out. I mean, again, it's back to the old Ohtani, contributing in all different ways. So it's really hard to say this year's better than last. They're all great. Yeah. They're all great. Probably, as I look at it, less opportunities for RBIs when you bat that high sometimes. Last year, he got the opportunities and drove in 130, not as much this year, but, RBI is not the biggest deal. Everything else is clicking for him. So I feel like he's just being Shohei Ohtani. And when he gets on the mound, it's just another level, especially if he can be successful. I mean, there's some doubts whether he should pitch or how well he'll pitch. But I love the fact that they're going to give him a chance. I think they're playing it real cool with him, saving him for the biggest moments, maybe just even October or mostly October. And that'll be interesting to just see that in itself.
Do you think this will be a race in the NL West? I mean, you look up right now, the Dodgers, Giants, and Padres, I think, are separated by combined 2 games. Do you expect that to be the case throughout the course of 162, or how do you see this shaping up?
I think it could be the case for a long while. I covered the Cubs in 2016, and I thought one of Joe Maddon's best managing years, the manager at the time, was actually in 2017, because they had won the championship for the first time in 108 years. It was hard to imagine putting the pedal to the metal right away. And so he waited. They were even, I think, under 505 games back at the All-Star break, and then they went into overdrive and took over the division in the second half. When you play 7 months of baseball and expectations are through the roof, you've got to pace yourself. And I think the Dodgers are letting teams hang around for a while. Now, obviously, their pitching injuries are maybe contributing to it, but I do feel at any point they will take over the division. That's just my feeling on it. They're too deep not to. They've got to get healthy in the rotation. So I think they're going to let teams hang around for a while. But come August, come post All-Star break, post trade deadline, I think they will take over the division. I rarely pick a team to repeat because of all the obstacles that come in the way, but I did pick them to repeat. So that's how I feel about the Dodgers.
This might be a little early to ask this question, but it's San Diego, and AJ Preller could literally make a move in 2 seconds. But looking ahead here, Jesse, at the trade deadline, in your opinion, who are some players that you expect to be on the move here come the trade deadline this season?
Yeah, well, knowing AJ, I say they have a hole on offense. He'll go out and get a bullpen arm, right? As soon as you think he's going to ziggy zags. I mean, I think the Marlins guys are available right now. I think Sandy Alcantara could be had. I mean, I'm educated guess here. Right. Maybe they're waiting until June 30th, but basically the Marlins are open for business. Not sure anybody wants anybody on the Rockies. Team like the White Sox they're going to wait a little bit though. If somebody wants Luis Robert, you can have them because the White Sox are kind of trying to build something and things are going well for them. Where the Rockies are just kind of out of it and not sure what exactly they're doing. I think they just want to wait till Alcantara pitches well enough that they can get something for him. I think there's other pitchers probably on the Marlins that are available. I would expect the Nationals to eventually get in that mode, even though I think they're going to be stubborn and wait a while. The key team is the Atlanta Braves. I mean, Alex Anthopoulos has a little aging in him. You never know exactly what he's going to do. Chris Sale has a team option for next year, so I would guess they'd hold on to him. But you would think that they would probably move Ozuna Maybe there's another surprise there in Atlanta to be moved. Their bullpen, once you're out of the race, you don't need your bullpen arms as much. And again, maybe Chris Sale as well. But we are a ways away. But Alcantara certainly would be at the top of the list. Luis Robert for the White Sox. But these guys haven't turned their seasons around just yet. So I think waiting is probably better for those teams because some of those guys can't play any worse. My prediction is somebody jumps the market, whether it be late June, early July. I'm not sure. But once we hit the All-Star break, it's going to be, all right, who are the real players in this thing? A while ago, about 3 weeks ago, I was told it was going to be a seller's market. I think it might slowly but surely even out a little bit, and it just won't be 4 teams selling. I think it'll be more like a half a dozen or more, starting with maybe those Braves, which normally we wouldn't include them.
Final one for me, Jesse Rogers, ESPN with us, is Jarren Duran with the Red Sox. Do you think he moves? Obviously, they called up their top prospect. Do you think Duran, who's put together a nice year, but not a year like he had last year, do you think he ultimately moves?
I'm going to say yes. I mean, I thought Boston would be better than they are. So I think as they transition to this new group there, I'm going to say yes to that answer. I did not think I'd be saying it that way. I thought Boston's record would be reversed right now. Be like, they're 32-36. I thought they'd be 36-32 or something. That puts them right in the race. Boston's had a weird year. You saw Alex Cora show some frustration the other day. So I'm going to say yes to that answer. And that's one of those teams I didn't think would sell that may end up selling, but it's still a little bit early for a team like Boston to be thinking that way.
There could be a very highly sought after player, again, controllable and is young and has had good seasons.
He's just had a 9-war season too.
It's just coming. I mean, an amazing year last year. It hasn't been that exact same year, but he's been solid here in 2025. Jesse, always appreciate you taking time for us here in San Diego, and we'll catch up again soon. And thanks for doing it.
Sure thing. Anytime.
All right, Grits. All right, call right now if you want a 4-pack of tickets, a free 4-pack of tickets to see Dierks Bentley June 19th. That's 9 days away at the North Island Credit Union Amphitheater. So a week from Thursday night, you have a free 4-pack of tickets if you call 877-767-4760. Here's how it works. First 2 callers will be our contestants for trivia. You need to call right now. The winner of trivia has a free 4-pack of tickets to see Dierks Bentley at the North Island Credit Union Amphitheater on June 19th. All you need to do is call right now. Pick up your phone and call 877-767-4760. A terrific giveaway. 4-pack of tickets to see Dierks Bentley. We'll give those away on the other side. Plus, we're going to hear from Mike Schill. We have the audio from pregame. We'll hear from Mike Schill coming up at 5 p.m. right here on Jon and Jim, San Diego Sports 760, live on the iHeartRadio app. All right, Mike Schilt, we'll hear from him. His pregame comments coming up at 5 p.m. We'll give away these Dierks Bentley tickets in a moment as well. Jeff Pastis tweeted.
Okay.
Aaron Judge just hit a home run that almost went over the Royals Hall of Fame at Kauffman Stadium. Estimated distance, 469 feet. Nice. I've been to hundreds of games here and never seen a ball hit there.
Okay. He lives in Kansas City, right?
I guess. How else has he been to hundreds of games? Have you looked at Judge's year?
It's really good, John.
He's around 400 with power.
He's the best player in the sport.
He leads in, correct me if I'm wrong, average on base slug or certainly average slug OPS.
Well, let me tell you, John, I'm looking at all of baseball. He leads in average. Cal Raleigh leads in home runs. Pete Alonso leads in RBIs. Judge leads in on base percentage, slugging percentage, and OPS. And
so
hits.
what's his batting average on base and slug?
Well, John, he is hitting 396 with 23 home runs, 55 RBIs, and a 1264 OPS.
So he's had a nice year.
He's had a decent year. Now, the player that nobody's heard of, who might be having the player that has having the best year that nobody's heard of is
Shohei Ohtani.
No.
PCA.
No.
Pete Crow Armstrong.
No, but did turn him into an all-star.
Correct. People are saying he's an MVP
candidate.
Cal Raleigh.
No. I can give you 1,000 guesses and you won't even come close to this name.
Okay, let me hear it.
Do you know who Jacob Wilson is?
Yeah, he's having that MVP like year, right?
Can you name the team he's on?
No. Is it?
Give me a guess.
Seattle.
Close. Right division.
Angels.
No.
Astros.
A's.
There you
A's.
go. The Sacramento, don't call us the Oakland A's. Jacob Wilson.
What's he done?
He's 23 years old. He's hitting 366 this year with a 922 OPS, 8 home runs, 38 RBIs.
Where do we sign him?
If it weren't for Aaron Judge, he'd be leading all of baseball in batting average.
Wow.
Yeah. So
do you think he's a bigger name than Aaron Judge?
He's up there.
And if he could only play all of his games the rest of his career in that minor league stadium they're playing in,
that is
best player ever.
That is very true, Brent. Now, yeah, because last year in 28 games with the A's, he hit 250 with a 629 OPS. This year he's hitting 366 with a 922 OPS. My boy Jacob Wilson.
What position does he play?
Shortstop.
Perfect trade for him.
Could you imagine?
Nice rental before Leo gets here.
Right. Who would do you think they could just do a swap of Xander for this guy?
Yeah, if Xander wants to get paid in quarters for the next 4 billion years.
Yeah, Padres Facebook would do that trade in a heartbeat. Like, why can't we just trade Xander for this guy?
Exactly. That's hilarious. All right, we'll hear from Mike Schilt coming up in 10 minutes. Right now, let's play for a 4-pack of tickets to see Dierks Bentley.
All right, 3 questions, 2 contestants, 1 lifeline. Today's 2 contestants. We have Corey and we have Tommy. Corey, you called in first, so you have your choice of John or Jim. Who do you want to go with?
John's fine.
John's fine.
John's fine?
He's fine?
He's awesome.
There
Thanks.
you go.
That's Corey?
Corey, John.
I appreciate
is
you,
your
Corey.
partner. That means Tommy. You get me, Jim, okay?
Gotcha.
Okay, Brent, what's the question of the day?
All right, guys, the U.S. Open is this week at Oakmont. Today's question, can you name any of the 8 winners since 2015? So we're looking for anybody that's won the U.S. Open since 2015.
Oh, boy. Okay, Tommy, you're up first. What's your first guess? You'd have a lifeline if you want to use it.
Give me Scotty Scheffler.
Scotty Scheffler. Has he won a U.S. Open since 2015?
That would be
no
incorrect.
Jim took him this weekend against the field.
I did.
Okay.
I did. Corey, back to you. What is your first guess? You have a lifeline if you want to use it.
John Ram.
John
Ram.
Or Ram.
I like Ram.
I like Ram too. Tommy, what's your next guess? You do have a lifeline if you want to use it.
Give Give me Xander Schauffele.
Xander was the US
Schauffele.
Open.
No,
he
that would
got
be
the
the
two
PGA
last year,
Championship.
But he didn't win. No, he got 2 last year, right?
No, he got.
No, he got 2.
Oh,
he won 2.
What did he win?
2 of them. Open.
Oh, wait. Oh, the Open Championship and the PGA Championship? No.
Oh, he got 2.
Okay.
Did he not?
Thought he got 1,
What are you
dude.
talking about, Mr. Golf?
He
got 2.
His first
Hold on, we're
major
stopping the game.
ever was at the PGA
Yeah,
Championship.
that doesn't mean he didn't have a second. Tiger had a first major. 2. He won the PGA and he won the Open
Okay,
Championship.
great. I know Mr. Xander
Come on,
fanboy
man.
over there. Who's up, Tommy or Corey?
Corey's up. You can walk it off with the right answer.
All right, Corey, you could win this right here. You do have a lifeline if you want to use it. What do you got? You want to walk this off? I got you right here, dude. I got you.
Isn't Corey my partner?
No.
DeChambeau.
Oh, darn it.
Bryce DeChambeau for the win, even though he's my partner, and Jim wanted to help him out. And that is for the win.
Oh.
You're such an idiot.
That was a train wreck.
That really was.
Radio.
All right, who is on this list? This is U.S. Open winners since 2015.
I'll start at 2015. Jordan Spieth won it in 15. Dustin Johnson, Brooks Koepka won it back-to-back years. Gary Woodland, then Bryson DeChambeau, John Rahm, Matt Fitzpatrick, Wyndham Clark, and then DeChambeau again.
That's 2 on air, and there was 1 during a pre-recorded interview. That's 2.5.
Stop, sneeze, achoo.
So what are we at now? We're at 2?
2.5. I think 2.5.
3 off air, 2 on air. Oh.
Can I ask you a question? What happened to Dustin Johnson?
He got paid a lot of money by Liv, stopped really practicing, has a hot wife, and is filthy rich. That's
because we haven't seen him, right? In like any capacity in years.
Right. He took the bag from Liv, and he's married to, I believe, Paulina Gretzky.
What do you mean you believe?
Like that's
you think?
I think that's his wife.
You think?
Yeah.
You're not sure.
And yeah. When you get paid like $500 million, it probably takes your motivation level.
But some of these guys are getting paid and they're still winning, right?
Yeah, but not on the PGA Tour like they are on the Live Tour.
Right. Or any of the players though on the Live Tour getting paid and still winning at a high level.
Bryson DeChambeau. Brooks Koepka.
Right.
So
no, it is. I mean, the money's crazy. Yeah. Dustin Johnson at one point, wasn't he like the best golfer in the world within the last 5-6 years?
He at one point was the number 1 golfer in the world. Yes.
No longer.
Not even close.
All right, Corey, congratulations. You have won a 4-pack of tickets to see Dierks Bentley. This is coming up at the North Island Credit Union Amphitheater June 19th, next Thursday. And for tickets and info, you can go to Ticketmaster.com. That's a 4-pack of tickets to see Dierks Bentley at the North Island Credit Union Amphitheater June 19th. Tickets and info at Ticketmaster.com. We're going to hear from Mike Schilt coming up. They just did a full like 5 minutes on the Padres-Dodgers rivalry, if it is or isn't.
Don't call it that, John.
And they went through and showed Dave Roberts in both dugouts. They went back and showed 2020 postseason, 2022, 2024. They showed Andy Green. They showed like 2013. I mean, they showed a lot.
Yeah.
Anyway, and they're going to play again tonight. But they also showed the quotes from Will Smith saying that it was not a big deal. It's just, a game in June. And the quotes from Max Muncy saying you can only have one rival.
It might be just a game in June, but the atmosphere was definitely not just a game in June.
No doubt. Completely agree.
And even they have to admit that. Even Will Smith has to admit the atmosphere last night was not a regular season atmosphere.
Yeah, no, it was way elevated from that. All right, so we'll hear from Mike Schilt on the other side. We are getting you ready for game 2 of the series between the Padres and the Dodgers. We're here until 6 p.m. Jim's back page is still ahead. A lot to react to, but we'll hear from Mike Schilt. He has spoken with the media. We'll hear what he had to say prior to game 2 after that very tough game 1, the 8-7 loss in 10 innings. Keep it here. Hour 4 of Jon and Jim on San Diego Sports 760 and live on the iHeartRadio app is next.
All right, this update's brought to you by WhatsApp. Padres Dodgers game 2 tonight at Petco Park. 6:40 first pitch. Dylan Cease on the mound for the Padres. On WhatsApp, your personal messages stay private. So things like those selfies from last weekend's party stay between you and your bestie, because on WhatsApp, your personal messages are yours. No one else can see or hear them, not even them. WhatsApp messages privately with everyone.
It's Jon and Jim.
It's on Dylan Cease tonight to be a stopper. That's what aces are. So he's got to be the guy to pitch effectively enough to give the Padres a chance to win.
Most important start of the season?
Yeah, without a close second this year. My guess.
Just this year.
Yeah, I don't think they're a close second. These games are elevated for me.
It's not even about that it's just to get the Dodgers. I don't care who it would be against. They need to get length out of their starter team because their bullpen is taxed.
Now, time for Jon and Jim.
All right, San Diego and Southern California, what's going on? Final hour, Jon and Jim. Padres, Dodgers, round 2 coming up in about 90 minutes from Petco Park at 6:40. Mike Shildt speaks. By the way, Jim Russell sneezes. Mike Shildt speaks.
That was an awful
90 seconds
commercial break. If anybody had the under on sneezes during the breaks today,
we've hit the over
at 9.5. I'm at 7 right now total.
Yeah, but you're trending to like 15.
Right. It's picked up here in the last 20 minutes. 7 during the break, 3 on air, 10 total today.
10 total sneezes since 2 p.m. Plus you told me you had like 600 before the show.
Yeah, correct.
All right. So, okay.
We'll keep an eye on that.
We'll keep you updated. Mike Shildt has spoken with the media. I think this starts with a question from Scan about the play of guys like Machado and Merrill yesterday, even in a loss.
Oh, yeah, so softball it right to Mike Shildt. There we go.
This is Mike Shildt just a few moments ago.
Yeah, I mean, Manny's been, both him and Jackson have been with us all year. I mean, they've stepped up a lot this year. You know, Manny just came off a great road trip, and Jackson, got off to a great start and had some good swings last night. So, the guys played well.
Dylan going for you tonight. He's been good recently, but obviously we expect more than just good out of Dylan Cease. But is it the sense that any outing now it could bust out and be the dominant guy that we're used to seeing?
Yeah, I mean, we've seen him really good, dominate. You saw him over in New York do that. The expectations are high. We all welcome the high expectations. Dylan welcomes them as well. He's the kind of guy that's got no hit stuff almost every night. But, he's going to go out and looking forward to seeing him get after tonight.
Yeah. Any update on you and how he came out of his bullpen yesterday?
Well, I haven't seen you yet, but I haven't got an update on you. But he left feeling good yesterday.
Talk about the atmosphere last night and just what it felt like from down here, I guess.
You know what? We have an amazing atmosphere here. It was on point last night. You could feel it. It's just a great atmosphere. It's as good atmosphere as you're going to find in Major League Baseball, and been blessed to see a lot of them. So, all year we've had Monday night games that have been electric here, and last night was a Monday night game was very electric as well.
Tyler Wade back in the lineup today, obviously had the big hit yesterday. Just how gratifying was to see him contribute like that with that kind of swing yesterday?
That was a big swing. Tyler's contributed quite a bit. He's done his part, and the bunt yesterday, the bunt the other day that helped spark a rally in Milwaukee that scratched a run across with the hit and run with Maldi, and the 3-run double or triple last night was big for us.
It's been a while since we've seen Campusano. What do you do as kind of his role?
Yeah, Campy, I've talked to him about it. He understands it. Doesn't have to probably love it, but, he's been great. The role basically is just where we're at with the way this club's set up with, Louis being banged up a little bit and him being able to DH, and Sheetsy being the guy DH and having 800 or so OPS, and then when you get other guys that we kind of rotate, get Iglesias in there, and you get Manny or guys like that off their feet, it occupies that spot. And coupled with the fact that our pitchers deserve all the credit, but our catchers doing a good job shepherding our pitchers, and really like what we have going with Maldi and Diaz behind the plate. So all those factors, just don't create as many opportunities lately for Campy.
Hayward today, swinging the bat and the early work. Where is he at? What are his limitations right now?
I didn't get a chance to go out there. I was inside doing some things, but I heard he was really good. Drove some balls out the ballpark the other way. Do you see it, Scan?
Only the tail end.
Okay.
Yeah. He looked like he swung good.
Okay. So Scan, like, I trust Scan. No, he's in a good spot as far as limitations go. They're about to come off. He's gonna take tomorrow to be with the boys and be with us, and then he's gonna travel on Thursday, and they'll start a rehab assignment in El Paso on Friday.
Sounds like the plan for the Dodgers pitching-wise tonight is to go with more of a bullpen-type game. What are some of the keys to preparing for that kind of game offensively?
It's more of the same. I mean, you're going to see more arms consistently throughout the game. So it's just a matter of the preparation leading into the game and also the communication during the game. None of these guys it's Howard's guy who'll probably show up today. And Curiosio, is probably going to show up. We're not familiar with them, but we're pretty familiar with the group.
Is there any thought into maneuvering the lineup to avoid some lanes for the relievers or not just overcorrecting?
I don't know what lanes
specifically like the 4, 5, 6, 7.
I understand completely. I write the lineup. I get the lanes. I don't know how to answer your question, AJ.
Is it something that just something that you consider, or
I think about the lineup every night when I make it. So I don't know. Would you have a suggestion?
No. I'm just asking. I'm wondering if this spot would necessitate it, or if that would be overcorrecting just because they're going there.
I don't know what they're going to do. So if you could tell me that, I'd be happy to make out a different lineup to accommodate the game. I don't know how else to answer that. We've got a lineup that's, got some lefties in there, and there's going to be lanes. It's what it is.
Interesting. So a feisty Mike Schilt, but also admitting there in the end that they're lefty heavy. It's another thing for the deadline, by the way, Jim. Did you cross out left-handed batters?
I do.
Yeah. So now you're crossing out left-handed batters, and the lane that he's talking about, he's saying, "Well, give me another option. We're going to have a number of left-handed batters in there.
Yeah.
Therefore, when you go to left-handed relievers, it presents a situation where they're facing 2 or 3 lefties in a row." He's like, "Well, what else can I do given the roster limitations?"
There are some severe roster limitations for sure with this team. They don't have many options to go to. I know Padres fans would love to see Xander Bogaerts be benched. Who's going to play shortstop?
Campy. I'm kidding.
Who? They're wasting a roster spot right now, just putting Campy on the bench and never using him. They have no alternatives. And this is exactly what we talked about in the offseason, by the way, the depth of this team. And it was like the number one thing for a good portion of the offseason was the depth. Last year's team had legitimate depth. Guys went down, guys stepped up, and they performed. Right now, guys go down, guys don't step up, and the guys that are put in those places aren't producing.
So the lane he's talking about, by the way, listen to this.
That's such a baseball term. It's like the lane.
Schulte will use it too, and he did not like that question.
But
that's
why it's a softball. Just give him a softball.
Merrill, Sheets, Bogaerts, Crony, Wade is 4 lefties. So again, that's 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You have 4 lefties. Now, again, like he said, he's like, well, I don't know what the Dodgers are going to do. He still has a bench. He's going to have right-handed options off his bench. But yeah, they're lefty heavy because Merrill plays every day. Arise plays every day, as they should. Sheets plays every day, as he should. So that is interesting, though, when you think about the trade deadline and upgrading in left field, you're likely not adding a left-handed bat. That would be very surprising if they added a left-handed bat.
Jared Duran, I believe, is he a lefty?
Well, I guess the other point is maybe you just add the best bat. Does it really matter if you're upgrading? Because Duran is a left-handed hitter.
Taylor Ward, he's a righty, I want to say.
Does it matter, or do you just want the best of what you can get? It's a righty for Ward.
I think at this point, you just get the best of what you can get.
Yeah.
But I would prefer a right-handed bat.
Yeah, definitely.
Because they are left-hand dominant. Arise, Sheets, Cronenworth,
Merrill.
Those are your main guys, and they're all lefties.
Mm-hmm.
Would love if they get Tyler
set out.
They trade for Tyler Ward, right? To me, you immediately put him in the 5 spot.
Trade for Ward, put him in the 5 spot. Yep.
And now your lineup looks so much better with Tatis, Arise, Manny, Merrill, Ward, Cronenworth, Bogarts, catcher.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's my lineup if they go get Taylor Ward.
They may, in fact, go get someone like Taylor Ward. I think something like that is very possible.
That would mean
reasonable.
That also mean that Xander Bogaerts would be hitting 8th.
Well, I mean, I think he'd probably get it. If you're hitting 230, like you're already weighing the team down enough by playing every day, which he has to because of that contract. But that doesn't mean that he's got to hit 5th just because he's playing every day or even 6th. You have to produce.
Mm-hmm.
Like you can't be a double negative. It's already a negative that you're not producing and making money. That's
right.
The double. You can't be a triple negative
or quadruple negative.
Like at some point, you're going to have to recognize you're fortunate to have a everyday job on this team. I mean, of course he will because they're paying him. He's not going to. He ain't taking a campy role. He's not going to just sit on the bench for weeks on end.
Nope. But just making one move, which is what they need to make up for this offense.
Mm-hmm.
Could make this lineup look completely different. And as I just pointed out to you, you go out and you trade for Taylor Ward, who I believe, how many home runs do you have this year? 16?
What did we say, 17?
Yeah, 17 home runs. He would instantly be the team's leader in home runs.
Right.
And I did
18
home runs. And I did this exercise with Jaron Duran, but I'll do it with Taylor Ward right now. You plug him in the 5 hole. And by the way, I totally forgot about Gavin Sheets. So right now,
well, with the lefty bats, you mean?
No, just in this hypothetical lineup. Tatis leading off in right. Arise hitting second at first. Manny's at third, hitting third. Jackson Merrill's in center, hitting 4th. Taylor Ward is in left, hitting 5th. Gavin Sheets is your DH, hitting 6th. Then if you want, you can go crony bogey or bogey crony, whatever you want in either order. Doesn't matter. And then Martin Maldonado, Elias Diaz hitting 9th. You know how much different that lineup looks with just one additional bat in it?
Sometimes that's what it takes. Like there's, I mean, it's only in, it's, here's some breaking news. There's only 9 players in the lineup.
What?
So you had one. I mean, it's an 11% upgrade. If it's the right one, it can be significant. If it's the wrong one, it can point you in the wrong direction, like Xander. All year long.
And who knows? Maybe Taylor Ward turns into a Ryan Ludwig 2.0.
Mm-hmm.
Could happen.
Yeah, sure.
Or he turns into like a huge piece for your team. I can't think off the top of my head, like a bat that was
came here and was impactful.
Yeah,
at the deadline.
Just give me
Mitchie Moreland.
No, not even close.
Kidding.
But you get my point. Is it could go both ways?
Yeah, of course he can.
Like on paper, right away, it could look great, and then he could come here and hit 185 with 4 home runs.
Right,
which is possible. But first off, you have to acquire him. He's not even on the team. Not even close. But
is it possible? Of course it is. I mean, are the Angels going to be sellers at the deadline?
Anything is possible.
Here's the thing, though. I don't think it's coming in June. A lot of these teams haven't determined what they're going to do. Why would the Red Sox sell in June? You're 4 games under 500. You're a week away from being decent. Why would the Angels sell off right now? I don't think the Angels are that far out of it. Like, what message are you sending to your fan base? You got to wait this out. To make a move right now, you better be Colorado or Pittsburgh. Like if you're making a move right now. All right, we're leading you up to Padres and Dodgers tonight. We've got much more for you. 6:40 is the first pitch time. So we've got you covered as the Padres are getting ready for the Dodgers. We can preview game 3 of the NBA Finals as well. That's going to be tomorrow night. Pacers, are they facing that must-win at home against the Thunder? We have Jim's back page ahead as well. We're here until 6. Jon and Jim, San Diego Sports 760 live on the iHeartRadio app. All right, Jon and Jim, San Diego Sports 760. Jim's back. Page ahead. We're getting you ready for Padres and Dodgers game 2 at 6:40. The series will wrap up tomorrow afternoon. We have you covered on Jon and Jim. Once that game goes final, we'll hear from Mike Schilt tomorrow. We will react. So make sure to be here tomorrow once that game goes final. Padres, Dodgers. We told you they'd square off a lot. These three, then 4 days away from each other, an off day and 3 in Arizona, and then back for 4 at Dodger Stadium. I think all night games, by the way, next week at Dodger Stadium. So This is the part of the season we've been waiting for. It's gotten way more exciting and dramatic, and hopefully the Padres will get some results that they're looking for. Last night didn't go perfectly. I think 3-4 years ago, we would have freaked out and overreacted to everything. I think now, knowing that these teams could both be in it later in the year, you're just kind of getting a feel for it right now, right? Dodgers aren't fully healthy. We've talked about it with the rotation. Padres aren't fully healthy. We've talked about it with their rotation and beyond as well. So, this is the first look at these teams, but these teams are going to change drastically over the next few months.
The one thing about, last night is definitely did not disappoint.
No, it didn't. It was a compelling game.
It for sure was. And when we saw the numbers on the wrap-up show, people were interested. Oh, no.
Are you going to sneeze? The answer is yes, he did. So that's 4 on air and 7 off air.
Yeah.
Stop, sneeze.
Dude.
Achoo.
And the over-under is 4.5 on air. I think set by you.
I set the over-under at 4.5.
All right. Don't do it. You cannot sneeze for the next 40 minutes. Don't do it.
That Claritin's fading fast.
Dude, Claritin doesn't work.
Dude,
Claritin doesn't work for Jim.
I'm like immune to any allergy medicine.
Have you ever been to an allergist? Serious question?
No, I haven't.
You're kidding.
Nope. Your face.
You're not serious.
I swear I've never been.
You've never been to an allergist? You are Mr. Allergist. You are the billboard for allergy.com. You should be getting 10 grand a month from these people. Well, actually not. I mean, the person that cures you, you should be on every billboard. They cured me.
I should like.
What do you mean you've never seen an allergist?
I've never gone to an allergy specialist.
Has Aaron ever said, "Hey, Jim, have you thought about seeing someone?"
Yes.
Aaron is
it's a conversation we have often.
He's never seen an allergist, and he's walking around with allergies every second.
Is there a reason you've never seen one?
Scared of the allergist? It's just what are they going to do?
No, here's the reason.
Cut off your legs.
Turn you into a pincushion for a little bit.
Yeah, here's the honest truth. All right. I'm just too lazy to go.
I buy that.
Yeah, but you've done other things. You've got a driver's license.
Yeah, but I needed that.
You've gone to work.
I need to work.
You turn on the television. That's the equivalent of that.
But it's also very easy to just hit that button.
Why did you go to the doctor when you had a
kidney stone?
You had kidney stone?
Because I was dying.
You weren't too lazy. Like, whatever. If I die, I die. Too late. So you haven't seen an allergist for 36 years.
Yes.
Because you're lazy.
Correct.
Has your mom chimed in on this?
Oh, yes.
And you've just put your foot in the ground and be like, I will never see an allergist.
Dude, I'm stubborn, bro.
You are, but I feel like it could be life-changing for you.
Probably will. Or it won't be, where they tell me you're allergic to this. Here,
I'm your allergist. You're allergic to everything, dude. Everything you're allergic to, but maybe they'll give you something.
I mean, what if they're just like, you're not allergic to anything?
Then you spend a copay. I mean, right? You spend money on whatever. Anyway, I'm just suggesting it. I'll be the latest in the line with Aaron and I can't believe that. I thought you were pulling my leg. Seriously.
Oh, I swear I've never even attempted to go to an allergy specialist.
I've been to one and I don't even have allergies.
Yeah, I've been to one. I don't have allergies.
How do you do it?
You go online, you book the appointment. You then, let's say they say 9:40 in the morning. You go there. They say, "Are you Jim?" You say, "I am." Dude, you were just at a fertility clinic. You know how it works. I mean, no, it's not the same thing. It works. It's not the same thing. The allergies. You're not going to ask for the same
samples.
No, it's different.
Oh, okay.
Why do you need this from me?
What is this? Pull my pants down. They're like, no, it's not that type of appointment. No.
What are all those needles for?
Yeah. Huh?
Dude, Just go see an allergist. I'm pretty sure if Aaron forces you to do it, you'll do it.
Yeah, probably.
I'm going to DM Aaron. I'm serious.
You don't have her number?
No.
Oh.
What? How?
I don't know.
From the wedding?
Maybe. You're going to DM her right now?
First of all, I'm just typing in Aaron to see. No, when I type in Aaron, it's just me and you saying like Aaron will kill you if you do this, or
Yeah.
No, I'm going to DM her at the break and be like, make Jim go to an allergist and make it a huge topic
He
of conversation
13
tonight.
times today.
Yeah, but like, no, not just today, dude. Since Jon and Jim launched like 3.5, 4 years ago, you've sneezed like infinity. You've set like a record.
I really have. I really wish we could have a mashup of every time I've sneezed on the radio. It would be like it'd be like 35 minutes long.
That'd be ridiculous.
It would be.
What do you got, Brent?
Text line says allergists don't do anything. They give you a ton of pinpricks, then tell you what you're allergic to, but that's about it.
See, that's the thing is
that would help because then we would know what you're allergic to.
Maybe they're like, you're allergic to John, you're allergic to Brent, you're allergic to Aaron. Stay away.
You're allergic to your wife.
No, it doesn't work like that. I don't think you're allergic to people, but I think they'll be like, oh, you're allergic to like leaves, so stay inside.
I've always had a problem sneezing inside of a radio studio. Did I ever tell you this quick story?
Yeah, you have said
when
that
I was I think 6 or 7 years old, my mom went into a local radio studio up in the Bay Area,
right?
Because she was doing some type of fundraiser for something and they wanted to promote it, and they were on the radio. And I thought it was the coolest thing to go in a radio studio.
Right.
And I remember vividly like going in with my mom, and the host like I tells me to go sit over, you know.
Oh no, you ruined it.
And he goes, but be careful, that's the sneezing corner. And as my mom was on the air, like describing this fundraiser that she was hosting, and the host was talking, I went out. I just sneezed, and then
ruined it.
I e-braked the entire segment. At the time, I didn't know what e-braking a segment meant.
But that's what it was.
But that's what I did.
And that didn't scare you away from radio for the rest of your career?
No, I said, you know what? I want to sneeze more. So I need to be in radio to just sneeze all the time.
Well, you've done it. Congratulations. You've accomplished it.
I've accomplished my dreams.
You really have. All right, Jim's back page coming up. We'll get you ready for Padres and Dodgers as well. On the other side, game 2 of this 3-game series from Petco Park. Stay with us, Jon and Jim. San Diego Sports 760 live on the iHeartRadio app. All right. So are you maxed out on credit cards or struggling with high interest debt? You could pay it all off in days with Loan Pronto's Rapid Equity Loan. Hey, guys, it is Schaefer. Get cash out now without touching your low rate first mortgage. No appraisals, no waiting, no BS. The Rapid Equity Loan program at Loan Pronto is truly amazing. One Loan Pronto client just got $300,000 approved. They did it in under 24 hours. They paid off debt, renovated their kitchen, cut their monthly expenses by, listen to this, $1,800. Huge savings. Loan Pronto, instant approvals, low rates, no hard credit pull up front. Listen, your home equity, it's yours. Use it. Get cash to consolidate your debt down to one easy low monthly payment. Call Loan Pronto now for a free instant appraisal for your home and see how much cash you can get today. Call now to start the conversation. 619-207-4336 or loanpronto.com. That's 619-207-4336. Get debt relief now at loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781 on approved credit, NMLS consumeraccess.org.
This update's brought to you by the San Diego International Airport. We are about an hour out from Game 2 down at Petco Park, Dodgers and Padres, where Dylan Cease will be on the mound tonight for the Padres. San Diego International Airport is getting an upgrade. The new Terminal 1 opens this fall. Lots of elbow room, faster security lines, and more dining and shopping options are on their way. Check out all the upgrades at newt1.com.
All right, Jon and Jim, San Diego Sports 760. Padres Dodgers in 1 hour. Jim's back page coming up in 15 minutes. Thought Jim was about to sneeze for a final time. Or not necessarily a final time, but again.
Final time. There's no final time with me with sneezing.
By the way, the update, Brent, is that I have DM'd Aaron Russell, and said, make Jim see an allergist, please. And like the face palm emoji of like, Lord,
like, please, someone.
I cannot wait for the response. She's like, right? I told him.
She will say, I know.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe we just have to have like an intervention, and we'll just you'll come home someday, and like your mom and us will all be at your house and unannounced, and
can you hire an allergy specialist and bring that person to the studios, and like we can do it live on air and test my allergies?
That's not a terrible idea. It's not a good one.
I don't think we could do that.
Probably not,
because we would need. That's just like not how
they don't have
works.
like allergy circuses. We're just like, hey, coming to the San Diego County Fair. It's an allergy theme.
Do you want to test your allergies?
Coming to Del Mar.
Yeah, the allergy booth's over there in the corner.
The most allergenic boy in the world. Come
he
visit.
He sneezes on command,
just in time for the fair.
Yeah, which kicks off tomorrow, by the way. So you should go over there with a T-shirt that says, "I'm the most allergic person in the world." $10 to see me sneeze. You'll be rich.
Yeah.
You'll be rich.
Well, that probably won't happen.
Probably not.
No.
Remember yesterday we touched on the fact that Ross Dellinger reported that the Pac-12 is inching closer to expansion and a TV deal.
Yeah.
John Canzano today, who we've had on the show before, who has his own website, does good reporting, johncanzano.com. He followed up today saying that the Pac-12 met at 7 a.m. this morning on Zoom. Jim wasn't on that meeting because he wouldn't have been up. But Pac-12 leaders joined a 7 a.m. Zoom meeting today, and among the agenda items, expansion and media rights. So it does feel like progress is being made. The grant of rights has been signed. I think it was Dellinger yesterday that said as many as 4 media partners could be part of the TV deal.
Wow.
That they need also at least one more football edition. But yeah, 4 TV partners potentially. Do you want to make any predictions on who's going to be part of this deal, like ESPN? Fox?
I think it's going to be a combination of CW.
Okay. Yep.
ESPN, CBS,
Fox. Where else would you turn if there were 4? Oh, and a streamer maybe.
And I'm trying to think of a streamer. I don't know what streamer.
Amazon, Apple.
I'll go.
Peacock.
I'll go Amazon.
Okay, so if the package included ESPN, Amazon, CW, and CBS, that sounds pretty good.
I think so. Now, again, you're not getting like the push from ESPN or the push from CBS, but still, I think that would be a pretty decent package to have. And if you're on a streaming platform, plus 3 cable networks there, CW, ESPN, CBS, and then
Prime. Everyone's got Prime. We watch the NFL on Prime.
Right.
Something like that. I think that would be a good outcome. Have we given up on Memphis? We being the show?
I kind of given up on Memphis.
It's just ship has sailed.
But I still have a little hope.
A little bit. Doors not fully closed?
I think Memphis would be the perfect school for the Pac-12. But I don't think it's going to happen.
Okay. Yeah, it felt like the door was open a while ago when we got this news, and then it felt like the door closed, and now I don't know where the door is.
Now, another school that could be really good for the conference, either Alabama or Georgia.
Yeah. So earlier today, this is good. Darnay Trip NBC7 sent us an article. He's like, I can't read this piece. It's behind a paywall. Does anyone know what it says? It was actually John Wilner, who's also been on the show a couple of times.
Right.
Who's the reason why I have a Heisman vote, by the way.
That's
because
correct.
he DM'd me like, do you have a Heisman vote? I'm like, no.
Do you want one?
And I'm like, yes.
Yes, please.
So anyway, where's the Darnay Trip here, or the Darnay tweet, or anyway, what did he say? Oh yeah, he said, can you tell me what's in this article? And then Jim said that it says Alabama and Georgia are coming to the Pac-12, and Darnay did not appreciate that. And then I said, no, it says Ohio State and Michigan.
He did not like that,
and he wants to punch
us. He didn't like that.
It didn't really. John Wilner does really good reporting. There are quotes in here, real quick, from the commissioner of the Pac-12 that said this. I've been saying all along that as we get close on the media rights, we would pivot and get out there and start identifying new members. We're at the point that we know enough to move forward and start engaging prospective members. So this sounds to me like it's getting really close. I mean, really close.
Well, we're like, what, weeks away, days away
I think
from
they have to have
announcements?
They have to have an answer by like July 1.
Yeah.
And it's June 10th.
Yeah. So they are, JD Wicker is
they've been working a lot on this,
on the phones and in meetings for sure.
Yeah, they've been working a lot on this. All right, we'll keep you updated. Maybe we'll get some newsletter in the week. Tonight again down at Petco, we started the show by talking about the fact that Dylan Cease has to be Dylan Cease. We saw it a lot a year ago in the regular season. We didn't see it in the postseason, but that's for another day. They need to get to the postseason. Nights like tonight help get you there. Seriously, I'm not saying the season's on the line, but nights like tonight are why Dylan Cease was acquired by AJ Preller last March. It really is truthful to say that. And they knew they had this limited window of 2 years and they wanted to maximize it. And I thought they did a year ago. It has not been maximized in 2025. And it also speaks to this point. Your ceiling is only reached if Dylan Cease looks like 2024 Cease at some point. You're not reaching it if Cease is average. You're not reaching it if Tatis is average. So Cease is going to have to step up at some point. And maybe tonight's the night we're talking about a Dylan Cease that steps up and does the job.
It would it'd be great timing if now started a 5-game stretch where
into the All-Star break.
Yeah, where he in the next 5 games is like a 1.3 ERA.
He's capable.
He is. He's shown that before as early as last year.
Mm-hmm.
He you know, he finished 4th in Cy Young voting last season.
Mm-hmm.
Now he did have ups and downs, but man, when he's on, he is really good.
Mm-hmm.
And with the injuries to the rotation, now's the time. Like right now, the pressure is on you to perform, and you need to step up. And you need to go out there and you need to put together a good performance tonight. I'm not asking for great. I'm not asking for even, like, I'm not asking for like a no-hitter, dude. I'm just asking, go out there, get through 7. Can you do that? Can you do that? Because you know who needs it? Your bullpen needs it. You need to pick up your bullpen. You know who needs it? The team needs it. You know who needs it? You need it. Mm-hmm. Go out there, get 7, get through 7. And, if you give up a couple runs, okay, you're against the Dodgers. I get it. I'm not asking for you to go out there and throw, a shut-up performance, which would be nice, though. But just get through 7 innings, dude. The team needs it. You've done it one time this year.
Yeah, and truth be told, I don't feel overly confident about Randy Vasquez tomorrow against LA. Guy that issues walks, that is a soft thrower, that has just been surviving, to his credit. He's pitched well enough to get to this point, but that's why Cease becomes even more impactful, because tomorrow's Vasquez is not King. His King's not on this active roster. It's not Darvish, because Darvish isn't here right now. So it really is on Dylan Cease. If you don't win today and Dylan Cease does not pitch well, you are facing a tough spot tomorrow afternoon against a Dodger team that smells blood in the water if you lose today behind Dylan Cease. And then you fall 3 games back in the division, and the Dodgers are staring down the potential of sweeping you at Petco Park. So it to me is an important game. Again, is the season determined tonight? Of course it is not.
Yes.
Right. Are they in or out based on today? You can only imagine what it would be like if it was.
Oh, dude.
And I don't even know how the Padres finished this year. Like the last time they played the Dodgers, I would assume they meet in September this year. I would assume. Is it like 2 series in September, or is it 2 series in August?
I think it's I know they play 1 series in August for sure.
And then maybe 1 in September this year? You would think you'd meet in September if you didn't meet
after next week, next time they face the Dodgers is 2 series in August, and that is it.
That's bizarre. So you don't meet early and you don't meet late.
They have the Padres ending their season 6-game homestand against Milwaukee and Arizona. Those could be games that are very important.
Yeah.
Because those two teams are right now in their minds, they think that they can compete for at least at worst a wild card spot. For sure, a wild card spot for Arizona. Milwaukee, I don't know if the division's something that they think they can get, but I mean, that's going to be tough. But yeah, the next time they face, wow, they also don't face the Giants in September either.
Yeah, look at September, man. It's the Rockies. Like,
which is good.
There's some opportunities. But listen to this: 7 against the Rockies, 3 against the Orioles. They could be completely done by then if they sell off parts. You have 3 against the White Sox. So 3 against the Orioles, 3 against the White Sox, 7 against the Rockies. That's 13 games. The season ends September 28th. That's a ton of games. 13 games in September against teams that have been bad.
So again, looking at this schedule right now, again, there is no doubt in my mind the path is there, and it's right in front of them.
Mm-hmm.
They could play 500 ball until September, and they could be okay because they have a path, which is very easy. And if they didn't get through, if they don't get through September, beating up on the Rockies and the White Sox and the Orioles and the Reds of the world, then they have no one to blame but themselves. But they have it there for them. You know, last September, I think their schedule was pretty difficult in September last year, if I'm not mistaken. They played the Dodgers a bunch.
Mm-hmm.
But this September, dude,
it's going to be right in front of you.
Right in front of you. You're 7 against Colorado, 3 against the White Sox, 3 against Cincinnati, 3 against Baltimore.
That's 16 of your games. Yeah.
Dude, come on.
I mean, you're right. Like, even if you're even in the wild card race then, and you got those 16 games, you'd like to think you could take advantage of that and play your way in. All right, we've got Jim's back page coming up on the other side. We are here until 6 p.m. Getting you ready for tonight, Padres and Dodgers down at Petco Park. Jim's back page coming up next. Don't go anywhere. This is Jon and Jim, San Diego Sports 760, and live on the iHeartRadio app. All right, final time, Jon and Jim, San Diego Sports 760. Jim's back page is coming up. Dave Roberts telling reporters this afternoon that there is a north of 0% chance Shohei Ohtani pitches before the All-Star break. North of zero.
North
is the
of
direct
zero?
quote.
I mean, south of zero?
North. So, like, it's possible.
I know. I'm just saying it shouldn't be south of zero.
Probably.
Because it's going to be 0%.
But listen to this. Today, he threw a sim game at Petco.
Okay.
Darvish, we've been talking about the up down, and he threw 6 pitches. Was it 16 or 17 or was it 19? Shohei Ohtani goes out there and throws 44 pitches today at Petco. Darvish doesn't throw 44 pitches in months.
Dude.
Ohtani went out there and threw 44 pitches today at Petco, and he's not even going to appear before the All-Star break. And Darvish, we don't even know what the plan is with Darvish.
Well, Darvish is also 40 years old, John.
Good point. But then again, Ohtani hasn't pitched in a while, right? Like this ramp up is very calculated for the Dodgers.
Right.
You're talking about a long time.
He's coming off of Tommy John surgery.
Tommy John. Yeah. He hasn't pitched since he was in an Angels uniform. That's a long time.
That's
now.
Right. Yeah. People kind of forget. It's like, wow, he hasn't pitched in a long time.
Would you, quote unquote, risk it? Like if you know you're going to get the 50 home runs, 1,100 OPS, whatever he does offensively, would you jeopardize anything to pitch him here? Now, again, they need the pitching. Make no mistake. But is it worth it?
You know what's going to happen is Ohtani's going to close out the World Series.
Don't you say that. Don't you say that right now. Don't speak that into existence. Don't you do that right now. Because what? Market. Do you think the role he will potentially fill later in the year is in the bullpen?
I think so.
Isn't it harder though to just be available in the bullpen, not knowing when you're going to pitch? Or you're just saying maybe in October, just like
October,
everything be damned. You need a couple innings. Here he is.
Yeah,
I can see that.
Yeah, it's going to happen, and the baseball world is going to, especially the baseball, social media accounts will just.
Oh, it's the greatest thing that's ever happened.
Most glazed. Just
what's better, 50 steals or this? They're both unbelievable.
And then you're gonna have Ben Verlander. You'd be like, Shohei Ohtani.
We've never seen it.
This is the greatest athlete in the history of sports.
Meanwhile, Aaron Judge out there hitting 600-foot home runs tonight.
Right.
Hitting balls over stadiums.
The ball that he hit tonight was.
I mean, if you go find the ball that Aaron Judge hit tonight in Kansas City,
you can't.
It's literally you can't find it. It's in like Mars.
It's in Mars.
It's like a MOVA globe right now. It's just orbiting the world. But anyway, Shohei Ohtani could return before the All-Star break per Dave Roberts. I wouldn't count on that. He will absolutely try in the second half. That's the point. If he's throwing sim games, though, in June, they're definitely going to try to get him back in the second half of the year on the mound. All right, let's get to it.
All right, I have an honest question for you, John. What are you doing on June 20th through the 22nd?
June 20th through the 22nd would be not this weekend, but next?
Yeah.
Why? What do you got? What are you proposing? Is there something going on we should do?
Do you or do you not, this might be a rhetorical question, want to go to New York for Fanatics Fest?
Okay, I do want to go to that, right? Because it's some ridiculous like card show and more.
Correct.
Like entertainment with sports and everything. I would like to go. Can we get our program director, Mary, to work out the accommodations and we can broadcast live from there?
Ooh, well, when you say that way, there's 0% chance.
Is it north of zero or south of zero?
It is south of
zero.
zero.
Okay. So you're saying we're not going to go?
No.
Tell me the details, though, of this thing.
So on June 22nd or June 20th through the 22nd, Fanatics Fest in New York City will expand its collectibles display to feature more than $200 million worth of trading cards and memorabilia.
What? 200 million?
200 million. Yes, that's right. There is a 10,500 square foot, quote, museum of greatness that will be displayed in a stadium setting with 20 different modules ranging from rising stars, GOATs, and women in sports to barrier breakers and entertainment. Tom Brady, Shohei Ohtani, Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, LeBron James, Lionel Messi, Babe Ruth, and Mickey Mantle.
Tyler Wade?
No.
Did you say Wade or not? I missed it.
I did not. Will be among the athletes featured in this museum. So far,
okay.
So far, a Jordan's 1998 NBA Finals Last Dance jersey, a Ohtani's 2024 All-Star Game uniform, a 2003 Ultimate Collection LeBron James Logo Man RPA, and more than 50 MLB rookie debut patches are among the items planned for display.
I really want to go to that.
Oh my
That
gosh.
sounds awesome. What is it? You just buy tickets and you go?
Yeah.
How much your tickets? Like $2,000?
Hold on. I'm going to Ticketmaster.
Yeah.
Fanatics Fest in New York
Fanatics Fest.
City. Well, John, here's the ticket prices. Okay.
Yep, I'm listening.
If you want to go on Friday, $69.
$70 to get in.
If you want to go Saturday, $69 for adults and $69 on Sunday. 3-day adult passes cost $173.
Was it Disney World?
Now Jones would get in for $34.
I mean, it's tempting.
I mean, you're already going to spend. I mean, if you're committed to this, by the way,
the flights and everything,
you're already like your budget for this event is like in the thousands. If you're a collector,
Bring that thing to San Diego.
They have another card show here in August.
Right? I know we're gonna hit it up, me and you.
Yeah, it's gonna be a problem. It's gonna be a big problem. Coca-Cola, John's bringing back a long gone flavor, complete with retro branding. Coca-Cola is bringing back a discontinued flavor, complete with a retro look. Beginning in mid-July, Coca-Cola will offer retro Diet Cherry Coke for a limited time.
That could be good. Retro Diet Cherry.
Diet Cherry Coke was first introduced in 1986, shortly after the introduction of Cherry Coke in 1985.
Wow.
So it's just there's no Diet Cherry Coke, right? Because
right. Oh, because Cherry Coke is around, but there's no Diet.
Okay.
That is interesting.
Yeah.
So we're gonna bring that back.
Diet Cherry Coke was discontinued in 2018.
So it's been going for 7 years. Okay.
Or no, sorry, it was introduced in 2018, but then discontinued in 2020.
I'm kind of surprised that they're going to bring it back, considering that they do have Coke Zero Cherry. I think.
Yeah, it's like
right,
Coke Zero,
right.
Diet
thing,
Coke, and
it's all
cherry.
the same. Yeah,
yeah. It's like you could like barely taste the flavor difference.
Yeah, I gotcha.
And finally, John, the legendary Joey Chestnut, he is in talks to return to the iconic Nathan's Famous Hot Dog Eating Contest on July 4th next month.
Did he miss it last year?
He did. It was a big story.
Yeah.
And everyone was really upset.
Yeah.
They didn't get to see Joey Chestnut.
Right.
Because remember, didn't he go eat vegan hot dogs?
He did.
Some
he did
crap
some
like
stunt.
that?
Tainted his legacy.
Yeah. Some people say that.
You don't become a hot dog a 16-time hot dog eating champion and then go
eat tofu.
Endorse plant-based vegan hot dogs. Like, give me a break.
I would.
I know you would.
I would.
But
so he may be back. Are they going to like up the ante with him or pay him more money or something?
It's all about the money,
It's
bro.
all about the money. Yeah.
All about the money. That's all I got today. You're welcome.
That was good. It was really good.
Yeah. 3 stories. How you doing?
All right. So, okay, here's the deal tonight. Padres play the Dodgers.
Check your Instagram.
Has Aaron replied?
Notifications.
Hold on. Because I told Aaron that Jim needs to see an allergist.
She just texted me.
Hold on. Let me see
Okay.
let me see what she said to me. Okay. Oh my gosh.
Oh no.
I got paragraphs from Aaron.
Oh no.
Real conversation from this morning. And then she puts in bold. I don't even know how to do bold on Instagram.
I don't know either.
Here's Jim sneeze, cough, and hack 10 plus times while I'm getting ready for work. Bentley actually was concerned and sat outside the bedroom door. It was that loud, with an emoji with like a sweating, like perspiration emoji. Aaron, opens bedroom door. Do you want allergy meds? Jim, no. Aaron, okay, so we're just choosing to suffer today. Cool. Wouldn't be the first time I said he should see an allergist, but I'll find one and make an appointment for both of our sanities. LOL. Thank you, Aaron. See, this is where I go if I need something done. I'm just DMing Aaron. Also, I'm going to DM Aaron. Tell Jim.
She texts me. She goes, rough day, huh? LOL.
So good. So good.
Well, that was a good way to end the show.
Hopefully tomorrow you feel better.
You should just respond at you sneeze.
I know.
Amazing. All right. We'll have a wrap-up show for you tonight on YouTube, recapping game 2 between the Padres and the Dodgers. If you missed anything today, go to sportssd.com or the iHeartRadio app or iTunes, TuneIn Radio, or Spotify. If you listen to the podcast, please leave a review. Back tomorrow at 2 p.m. for Brent and Jim. I'm John. Keep it here. It's San Diego Sports 760.
Sneeze.
Okay.